my God.
I'm done. Oh, I'm sorry. I just died. I can't breathe. Steve, I swear to you, I haven't laughed that hard in like 10 years.
How's everybody doing?
Armageddon.
It's gonna be real.
Your nationality is American. You were born in America. You're an American.
That's fact.
I guess right after high school, ended up joining the Army.
You guys seem way more chill than that intro. I'm ready to take your fucking country back. I don't even live there.
Dude, we should get a boxing match going.
Smack the shit out.
That sounded wrong.
Only because I feel like you need to be exposed more.
I have to highlight that one. Oh my Lord.
And stay the hell out of the left lane if you're not passing.
You're so salty about this driving.
You don't have to have a massive channel to make an impact, you know.
I've learned a very important lesson, is to always keep your gerbil on a leash.
Fuck, do I drop the wheelchair jokes? He's like, just fuck them.
You know, that's what the whole freedom of speech is.
That's a good point.
Then this old lady walks in with like a walker, and I look at him and he goes, oh yeah, you're fucked.
You don't have to agree with it. Absolutely not. But you best defend their right to do it.
Again.
People like Pelosi are going to get in the way because they all became multi-millionaires.
Did you ever get around to stomping on your Air Force Ones?
I don't like certain individuals. It's never because of their race, identity, religion, or
Teach these government nerds that all swear an oath to it what our freedoms are, because they're so lazy they don't care.
They're all in on it. There was really nobody to like support us and defend us against these evil people inside.
I had a fun night. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
To have a place for everyone to go to where they can just forget about life for a little bit and have fun.
You know, don't live on the past or take the present for granted and only think about the future.
People are wearing blinders. They don't understand what.
Never attack or insult the other side of the debate.
I'm not going to apologize for that.
What you were calling him an idiot on was something that you just didn't agree on.
I'm really disappointed in you. I had all my money on you tonight.
I'm guilty of inciting my constitutional right.
You know, if they don't like it, then they don't have to be there. You know, take it easy. Love y'all. See y'all on the next one.
You know, you're never gonna please everyone. Not everyone's ever gonna like you.
I don't think that God sees different races at all.
Much love to y'all. Stay prayed up, man. God is good. Love each other and be kind.
Much love, much aloha, and most importantly, God bless.
Out of here.
I found out the hard way. There's a big double standard when it comes to women finding out they got cheated on versus men finding out they got cheated on. Because when a woman finds out she got cheated on, what does the whole world tell her? Oh, girl, fuck him. He don't deserve you. Key his car. Firebomb his office. Kidnap his kids. Kill his mom. You know? I'm exaggerating, but that is actually the correct response, at least in spirit, right? I'm telling you, as a dude, I did not get that response most of the time. Most of the time, when I told people I caught my wife having an affair, they go, oh, well, what happened? I just fucking told you what happened. You know, the problem with what happened has an undertone of what did you do, right? Yeah. What did you do? That's the double standard part, because not only do men not get sympathy for getting cheated on, you get judged as a man for getting cheated on, right? How many times you heard, oh, his wife cheated on him, he must have not been meeting her needs. Bro, I didn't know she needed to be a whore. Fuck. I wasn't in her vows, you know, I don't know. Damn, egg on my face, come on her. You know? I'm not saying that every woman that's cheated is a whore. I'm just saying that men get judged harshly for this shit. Great example, Will Smith, right? The man had a perfect track record, decades-long career, not a single blemish until that bald-headed succubus. I really mean succubus. Tell me alopecia don't sound like a demon's name. She has drugged that man through the mud over and over and over again. And we're still making fun of Will Smith. That man is a fucking victim. We say victim blaming shit. Like, oh, why would he say my wife's name out your mouth? They've been separated for so long. Because she's fucked them up. You know, you would never be like, oh, why'd that woman go back to her abusive husband? They're both trapped in the same cycle, obviously, you know, because you think about it. Will Smith has everything. All he wants is her approval. She knows it. She withholds it. She humiliates him. And then we still make fun of Will Smith. And the problem, there's a million Will Smiths out there. I am legend? Nah, bro. I am Will Smith, you know? The point I'm trying to make here is if you got a man in your life that you care about and he tells you he caught his girl cheating, do not let your first question be, what happened? All right? Just be a good friend, be a good feminist, treat everyone equally, and take a shit in her car. All right? Thank you. All right. I had my fun little Nanette moment. Let's get back to the funny shit. Yeah?
Aloha, everyone. Stephen Bolles, what's up, man?
Aloha, Steve. How are you doing, man? I'm good. It's funny. I'm watching the chat on YouTube, and for half a second, I thought everybody was saying hi to me. And then I was like, oh no, this is the Steve they know and love. You know, that makes more sense.
Man, so yeah, welcome and thank you for being here, man. That's everyone in chat. That's just a clip of his stand-up special, which I have his channel link pinned at the top. Definitely check him out. Very funny.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, all the views, all the comments, all that shit really helps at this stage of the game. So I appreciate that a lot.
So yeah. So if you want to just tell chat a little bit about yourself, just to give them an idea.
Sure. Chat, I'm Stephen Bolles. Not as cool as y'all's favorite Steve, but, you know, I'm another good Steve out there. I'm from Virginia originally. I've been living in New York since 2014. Been doing stand-up since about 2016 in New York. I started in 2013 in Virginia and then moved to New York and then fucked around. I spent all my money, so I had to stop for about a year and a half just to survive, you know, but really started hitting it in the city again in 2016. We've just been there since then. Just trying to get by and do stand-up as much as I can. And the special came out on March 15th. The full thing's on my YouTube, the pinned link that he was talking about. It's my first full hour, and I'm really happy with it. It's, you know, I started in 2013, so it's 10 years of work, 10 years of figuring out what works and what doesn't, you know. So I don't know. I was a big believer in the mentality of like, it's called a comedy special because it should be special, you know. Like I've seen a lot of kids my age, they'll do stand up for like 2 or 3 years and then put out an hour. And it's like, you don't have it yet, man. Like no one does after, you know, that little amount of time, you know? So it took 10 years, but it's here. And I'm really happy with it. And that clip was about my ex-wife cheating on me and trying to, you know, find the silver linings in that. And talk about the, you know, responses that I would get to that, because I feel like those responses aren't talked about enough. You know, that was one of that moment in the special is very deliberately about 40 minutes in, because I'm like, I need to hit these people with some funny shit for a while first. And then and I call it my little Nanette moment. You know, I'm like, this is my one serious thing I want to say. And then I promise we'll get right back to talking about smoking weed and putting Sharpies in my ass or whatever it is that I do. You know? But that clip is, I like to think it's one of my magnum opuses. I'm real happy with it. I like to say it's one of my first jokes that has some substance instead of just joking about substances. So it's a different wavelength, but yeah, other than that, just been doing stand-up in New York for a long time. I'm actually not in New York right now. I'm in Virginia at the moment. I'm at my mom's place. She had a knee surgery at the beginning of the month. So I've been playing caretaker, doing all the cooking and cleaning and helping with the recovery and stuff. I got a bunch of pictures of me as a little kid up on the wall back here. You know, like actually, you want to see something fun? This is talk about. I don't always look like how I do now, right? Where am I? Number 9. This is a little horny bastard that started masturbating. He ruined it for everybody. He ruined it for all the rest of the Stevens. He ruined it for all of them.
Oh, Steven.
He was discovered it. So yeah, you can blame him.
So 40 minutes in, you have a therapeutic moment during your show, eh?
Yes, yeah. 40
That's
minutes
good.
in, I have a therapeutic moment. And what's actually so funny was with your first taping, like I feel like a lot of stand-ups will be able to relate to this. And if you're not, this might be a little inside baseball. But if you're taping your first hour, generally you're charging tickets for it so you can pay to people who are filming it, you know? And so at this stage in the game, if you're paying $20 for a Stephen Bolles ticket, it's because you know Stephen Bolles personally, you know? And so
Right.
when I'm doing this material and everything, it was very funny because I could tell the audience was low-key kind of relieved about it. And I had heard a lot from a lot of them afterwards that they were, because everybody in that crowd kind of already knows my story. You know, they already know about the divorce. A lot of them know some of the heavy tea that didn't even make it into the special. And for the first half hour of my special, like I'm kind of just joking around about drugs, which is one of my bread and butter topics that I like to talk about on stage. But I had so many people afterwards telling me, like, we were all just waiting for you to talk about the divorce. You know, we were all just on the edge of our seats waiting to hear about it. I'm like, I promise it's like 30 minutes of drug material and then 30 minutes of like divorce. You're slutting around, being single, like all that salacious stuff. So just hang in there 30 minutes. Or if you're just now watching, you just want to get to the salacious stuff, 30 minutes, jump 30 minutes in. And then that's when it starts. If you're not a drug person, you can just jump 30 minutes in. And that's where my love life is in the special. But yeah, no, it was pretty cathartic and a very fun moment in the special for sure.
Pooping in the car, that was my favorite moment in that little bit.
Thank you. I thought that was a happy medium between
I love it.
the car and burning down a building.
But even though it's a joke, it's so true though, because why is it like that? Like when it happens to a guy, like why did I do something? Why is it automatically,
Doing that bit and working on it for as long as I was, like, I definitely got to explore the why for a little bit. And I was actually saying it's almost one of the weird ways that like patriarchy still kind of works for women, to women's benefit. Like, like patriarchy for women, generally a pretty bad thing. But in this one instance, if you cheat on your husband, it's the patriarchy that's like, oh, well, then it's on the husband for not satisfying you, like he should have,
Right.
kept it up more, fucking dicked you down more, or else you wouldn't be looking for it for other dudes. And it's like, in reality, the thing that bothers me about it so much is that it's like not just the double standard of men not getting sympathy for it, but it's like anybody being judged on someone else's decisions. That's what really gets me about it. You know what I mean? Those were her decisions that she made. And it's like, I obviously was not there. I would not have supported any of those decisions, obviously.
Right.
So it's like as a man, you get judged for your partner's shitty and hurtful decisions. And that's where it's, that's where I'm like, all right, let's talk about this and break this down and address this a little bit. We want to have important conversations. This is the important conversation I want to have.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so true.
So what made you get into comedy?
Well, initially I've been listening to Weird Al since I was like 9 years old. And I thought I was going to be a funny music guy because I was a big band geek for a long time. And I wrote my first parody when I was like 11 years old, I think. I wrote a parody of Breaking the Habit by Linkin Park. Are you familiar?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote a parody at 11 years old. I wrote a parody it was supposed to be sung by Elmer Fudd, and it was called Hunting for Wabbits. So that was the parody of an 11-year-old. I think it's still pretty. I'm hunting for wabbits tonight. Like I was like, if I had any money to make a YouTube video at 11, I probably would have been famous by now. But but that's where I kind of started. And then by the time I got to college, this is the funny thing with like some people with stand up. They're like, oh, I knew my whole life I wanted to do stand up. And it's like, I was raised in like Fredericksburg, Virginia. There is no stand-up club within 2 or 3 hours of where I'm at. It just wasn't even like a thought in my mind. It wasn't until I got to college. I went to Christopher Newport University in Newport News, Virginia, and there's Kazi's Comedy Club just down the road in Newport News, Virginia, and I found out they had an open mic. And then my freshman or sophomore year of college, I went and did the open mic. And it was just like, oh, I can be funny and I don't even have to carry around an instrument, fuck music. Let's just, make regular jokes. And it was pretty much fate sealed from there. I did the open mic every week and then started doing bar shows around Virginia. And after my sophomore year of college, I had pretty much decided like I wasn't going to use my communications degree anyway. I've never met a communications major with serious intentions to use it. So after my sophomore year, I told my parents I was taking a year off of college to earn money and save money. But really, it was taking a year off of college just to save money to move to New York. Because when I started, all the headliners told me, like, you got to move to New York or LA as quick as you can because no one is looking for talent in Newport News, Virginia.
Right.
Right.
Like, that makes a lot of sense. And at the time, I had a piece of shit car, and I liked New York more because I liked the idea that I wouldn't have to deal with a car. And now, after being there for 10 years, I miss my piece of shit car horribly.
Right.
I miss it so much. It was this blown out fucking Saturn that I would give anything to have back. So yeah, I moved to New York in July 2014. So it'll be my 10-year anniversary this July in the city.
Right.
And that's really where it all started was Kazi's Comedy Club in Newport News, Virginia.
So what kind of venues have you done, like, as far as size? Have you done any big venues yet?
Nothing too big. Like, I would love to do some bigger venues. I'm trying to think of like the biggest venues I've done. The biggest venues I've done are probably like 200 or 300 seaters. And that is like the Funny Bones in Virginia Beach, I think, is 200, I think. And then just like kind of one-off theater shows like here and there, like road shows that my friends are producing, and those might have 100 or 200 people there. But so far that's it. We're working on, getting bigger venues. The other notable venues I'm performing at New York Comedy Club and Stand Up New York and Rodney's with some regularity in the city. At New York Comedy Club, I host a lot of the weekend shows, late weekend shows, the 11:30 shows at New York Comedy Club. And if you've never been to an 11:30 p.m. show at a comedy club, that show, it could be hit or miss. 11:30 p.m. You're starting at 11:30 p.m. So people are either showing up kind of drunk or kind of tired. And
Right.
I will take kind of drunk every time. Every time. I would rather the audience be rowdy and kind of drunk, because if they're kind of tired, man, it's just going to get worse. They're just going to get more tired as the night goes on, And me hosting, it's like I'm first, so I might have a good time, but I know I got to keep the show running because these people are going to fade,
Right.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm like also performing just at any number of indie shows across the city in Queens, Manhattan, Brooklyn, sometimes in the Bronx, sometimes in Staten Island, little shows in Jersey, stuff like that. I post a lot of my stuff on Instagram, all my shows and everything, and my Instagram and all of my social media is at Mick Longhair, MC Longhair. You see, easy to remember.
I love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
easy to remember. Because you know why I use Mick Longhair is because my name is Stephen Bolles. I'm a PH Stephen, and it's spelled Bolles. So if you just tell an audience Stephen Bolles, there's like 8 different ways to spell that. Like it's not as easy to find. So I always just tell people I'm like Mick Longhair, easy to remember, MC Longhair. That's all you got to remember. So yeah, I post most of my stuff on Instagram and show dates and stuff like that. Recently, I've gotten to do a few road shows at some breweries. I did shows in North Dakota, Minnesota, Kansas, and Colorado last month. And that was really fun. I had never traveled that far. I've been saying I'm an I-95 baby. I've only been all up and down the East Coast, and that's it. So it was cool to see the rest of the country for a little bit. I've not gotten lucky enough to go to Detroit yet, though. I would like to be able to go to Detroit.
Oh yeah, love to have you. I'd come for sure. I'd come.
Well, if you ever come to Hawaii, the Blue Note is I seen Angie Schultz there back in 2020, right before the pandemic. But
yeah, oh my God, I wanted to tell you, Hawaii is my number one spot that I have always wanted to go to, and partly because my favorite guilty pleasure show since high school has been Hawaii 5-0. The new one, not the old one, the new one, with I can't even remember most of the actors' names, but it's just like, you have that garbage TV show that is kind of garbage, but it's like you like it, the characters growing on you and you like the dynamic. Hawaii Five-0 is my fucking show. And so I've just been watching that since high school. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. How long did you say you've been in Hawaii now?
15 years.
Damn, that's amazing. That's
And
awesome.
the crazy part is when I came, I'd never been here before. I'm a plumber. So at the time I was a plumber for 15 years and I was like, I got skill trade. I can go anywhere. I just packed a duffel bag and I had never been here. I just came and then here I am.
I cried, man. Big Rivers.
Oh, you cried when you went to Hawaii?
Well, yeah, I'm like,
don't leave
I'm never gonna see you again.
Dude, I would too. I'd cry the moment the plane landed, man. Let alone, dude, when they put that lei on my neck, oh my God, it'd be a mess. No question.
He's like, yeah, they're roasting pigs and there's women on the beach. And I'm like, you suck.
I bet after 15 years, does it ever get old? Does anything about Hawaii ever get old?
It actually doesn't, but only because I'm still working all the time. So when people are like, oh, you can just go chill on the beach, like, yeah, but I haven't in a very long time. Or, I drive by them, but that's about it.
You got to make time for yourself, man. Even a plumber deserve a beach day from time to time,
Right.
Yeah, I relate to that because my day job in the city, I've worked a lot of jobs in the city. That's what happens when you drop out of college. You end up working a lot of jobs. And most recently, like since 2020, I've been doing like handyman shit mostly. At this point, it's mostly like mounting TVs and, furniture assemblies, mounting shit in the wall. So I respect the contractor hustle. I've been a 1099 boy since the pandemic.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Feel that.
1099. Yep.
Dude, I fucked up my taxes so bad the first year I was 1099. I had no idea what I was doing. I was spending money like I had it, Put nothing
Dude, that's
away.
funny as hell, man, because I'm not sure how old you are, but we were talking backstage. I think I'm older than you. And the funny thing is I did all the same shit. Exact same shit, dude. Like,
yeah.
Dude, and then text comes around and I'm like, I gotta do what? I gotta
want
do
how much?
Right. It's like, damn it.
Yeah. No, dude, it fucked me up pretty good because it was like I knew I knew on paper I was supposed to be putting some aside, and I was decent about putting some aside to not be used. But it's like, dude, I've been telling people, I'm like, man, like I don't really talk about politics too much because I got 2 feet of hair and people don't listen to me anyway when I talk about politics. That's fine. I usually don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about politics, so that's fair. But I'm like, I'm telling you, dude, if everybody like in the USA went on a 1099 for a year and then had to go back to a W-2, I'm like, oh, we'd be Marie Antoinette and fucking everybody. Like when you it's one thing with a W-2, it's like, how much money you make on paper, like, it as a figure in your head. But I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, it's different when you get it in your hands.
Oh, I hate it.
It makes you feel like I'm like, this is how much I'm actually worth. This is what my work is actually worth. And then it's like, you want to take how fucking much? I was like, no, dude, come the fuck on. I was like, why don't you let me break my leg for free? And then you can have some of this, motherfucker.
Right.
Like I said, I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. I just know that I got a real hard crash course in the IRS after the fucking pandemic, after I went 1099 full time. And I'm still feeling from it.
That's when you learn too, like, all right, I bought work shoes. Make sure I don't lose that receipt. I bought shoelaces for it. It was only $1.29, but do not lose that receipt.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I spent $3.18 on gas this day. Like, you keep every single penny or receipt.
Dude, that was actually like the nice thing. I was like using my card to pay for most things. And then around tax time, when I kind of figured out what I was doing, like I swear it took so long, but I just pulled up my work calendar from the last year. And
That's
I'm like,
what I did.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, I swear to God, whatever days I worked, any money I spent that day, work expense, no question.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where it was at. Chick-fil-A, between jobs, work expense. I'm like, Guitar Center, work expense. I don't care. I worked and I had to spend money that day. That's a work expense, period.
I hated profit and loss, filling out the profit and loss forms and then paying for Schedule C when you do them. It's like an extra $200 for a Schedule C if you're self-employed. So I
Yeah.
did that for like 10 years. Then I didn't pay for 3 years, and I was afraid to file my taxes. Like, I'm thinking I'm in trouble. So, like,
Yep.
the 4th year, I'm like, "Oh, I better go do it." And then they were like, "Oh, by the way, you would have got $5,000 back every year if you had filed." I'm like, "Oh my god." The whole
Oh
time I thought I was going to like
no.
IRS jail. I'm like,
That
Damn.
happened to me too, dude. Very similar, but this was, I don't know when it happened to you, Dave, but like 15 or before I came here, so 20 years ago. But I was in between jobs a lot then too. But I was so used to the 1099 even then that same thing. I'm like, man, I'm in so much trouble. And then when I did, they're like, yeah, you would have got a lot of fucking money back, man. It's like, damn it, I forgot about those in between jobs that I had that wasn't 1099 that I would have got money back from. And then child support took it all anyway. So
Oof. Brutal.
it's my fate. My fate is to be broke for the rest of my life.
no, we're
Starting to
working
feel
on that.
I'm starting to feel that, for
Well,
sure.
I mean, you went to Hawaii. I mean, even like the crappiest house is $3,000 a month. So try
Right.
paying that, guy. Seriously.
That's why I'm still broke.
Yeah. That makes I bet living in Hawaii is about the same as living in Manhattan as far as cost of living goes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's like if I was still in Detroit, but could make the same amount of money as I make here in Detroit, then I'd be doing pretty damn good, man. But
You'd
I
be
don't live
rich
in
there.
Detroit, and I wouldn't be able to make the money that I make here in Detroit. So it's like,
I mean, you'd be surprised, bro, because the pandemic kind of changed it was weird. It was like everybody couldn't get anything fixed for 2 years. And now everybody wants it, and everybody's like got on back order. You got to wait 2 months for everything now, like a CT scan, an MRI, a doctor appointments. Everything's 2 months out.
Yeah, and it depends where you are too. Because actually, one thing I discovered, I was doing TaskRabbit for a while. You ever done TaskRabbit?
Mm-mm.
It's like an app for odd jobs, and like my big thing was like help moving, which is like literally you just hire a guy to be an extra set of hands, or furniture assembly, and that's like you order IKEA and you don't want to put it together, and there is no shortage of rich people in New York City who don't want to put together their shitty furniture. And so I was on TaskRabbit during the pandemic, and I built up like a few hundred tasks on my profile, which looks good. And then the crazy thing to me was I went down to Virginia for about a month, and TaskRabbit's in all major cities. So it has like a good presence in DC. And my mom lives just outside DC by like an hour. I got on TaskRabbit here. And what was so amazing was that like in New York City, there's like literally maybe 1,000 taskers registered. I might not show up in a search engine, but down here, when you get on TaskRabbit, there's like 8 taskers total for the entire area. And then I was one of them, and I had hundreds of more jobs more than anybody else on the search. And so all of a sudden I was king fucking TaskRabbit living in Virginia. Like I was getting hired left, right, and center in like Fairfax and Alexandria and Manassas. And it was like some of the easiest work because a lot of it was just like moving furniture and like making dump runs. So it was like I would take the car seats out of my van and then load furniture up into them, replace their furniture, take their furniture to the dump. If it's a 45-minute drive to the dump, that's an hour, that's an hour of pay. And it was just like, oh my God, I was like, I should live in Virginia full time and just keep doing this, but
right.
That's the problem with wanting to do stand-up was even when I was living in Virginia, I'd be on Instagram every night looking at my friends' stories and all my friends getting on stage and just being like, I got to get back on stage. I can't, like, I'm too antsy.
Is it like an adrenaline rush when you get on stage, or are you scared, or what goes through your mind?
Little of both. Sometimes it depends on the venue, depends on the show. If it's someplace I've been before, or it's basically anywhere in the city, if it's some regular bar show, it's never really scared. It's like you hope it goes well, pretty much. I think every comedian would agree that like on any given night, on any given show that you're doing, usually you have like some new things that you're doing that you want to go well. So that's like the only sense of like anxiety is like, I want this to go well. Like I want this specific joke to go well. Like generally I'm like, I kind of expect the set to be okay. I'm like, I'm not going to bomb my ass off unless something crazy happens, which still happens, from time to time. I'm not saying I'm above bombing. I'm certainly not, but it's really, even when that does happen, it's not really like a fear response. I think it's more like butterflies, like the good kind of butterflies, like when you're about to ask a girl out or something, it's like that kind of vibe, like I'm like, it's my favorite thing to do. So I'm like, I am never more happy than like when I'm on stage, and I'm especially never more happy than when I'm doing well on stage, so it's like,
awesome
even if it's not going well, I'm like, there's literally nowhere else I'd rather be, fuck it.
It's an awesome
Do
feeling.
you have like well, it's actually two questions in one, but have you ever had like that sticks out in your mind, the worst heckler you ever have? And do you have like a special like way that like you're not even worried about hecklers because it's like, I know how to deal with this shit?
Nah, hecklers are still kind of like, it's still honestly like, it doesn't happen as much as you think it would. I honestly feel like heckling happens a lot more in the rest of the country than it does in New York. Like, I've been heckled far more on road shows than I have in New York City, because it's like the only people that really heckle you in New York City, or at least in my experience, the only people that really heckle you are people who are too drunk, and they usually agree with you too much. Like, people think of heckling as like someone going boo, and it's like 90% of my heckles are some drunk dude being like, yeah, that's exactly what it's like, bro. And you have to kind of treat them with kid gloves. I'm like, hey, you're having a good time. I'm glad you're having a good time, but maybe shut the fuck up a little bit. Like, you got to treat them with kid gloves a little bit. But in terms of like the worst bombs I've had, like, I had one recently, like 2 months ago. I think I was on the road, and we did a show in Lawrence, Kansas, and it was so funny because we had done a few shows in this tour, and they were in North Dakota, Minnesota, Kansas, Colorado, and I think that's it. But it's like all the shows before this show, it's like me and my boy Max, who I was touring with, were like the youngest people there, and I'm 31 and he's 28, like, so we're performing for a lot of like good Christians. I didn't realize the Bible Belt extended so far up the West, like these people were good Christians, so like most of these shows, they were fun shows, what I mean? They're still letting loose and having fun, but it was just like, we had this show set in Lawrence, Kansas, and that's a college town. That's where KU is. And so we're like, oh, thank fucking God, like there's going to be some kids here. Like, we might even get laid after the show. Finally, like, and then of course we get there, and it's like, it is in Lawrence, but it is not like in the city of Lawrence. It is like a few miles out in a vineyard. The vineyard itself was gorgeous. The venue was beautiful, and the people that ran it were super nice, and I love them. It was just kind of far out of the way, and there's no foot traffic to this show. Only the people who bought tickets are going to show up, and only about 20 people bought tickets. And this was a room that easily could have sat like 200 people. So already when you're starting with 20 people in a room that seats that much, it can feel a little shitty. But like, we kind of arranged it well where we had everyone packed in one corner of the room, so they're all sitting close together. That's some stand-up psychology. You don't want people spread out. You want them as close together as possible. And it was just like, and it was like this group in the front. And it's like, that's the thing with a 20-person show, every single person there is my best friend. Thank you for buying a ticket. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for being the only people in Lawrence, Kansas to take a chance on us, So I'm like, immediately you want to give these people the benefit of the doubt. But there is this table up front of like 4 women and 2 guys, and they were all like probably in like their 40s, I think. And it was just like, the women at this table would not shut the fuck up, which is the worst kind of heckling. Like, if you're going to heckle, like, at least talk to the comedian. The worst is when people are just talking at their table, just like nothing's happening around them, And it was like, the first couple times, like I said, treat them with kid gloves, I'm like, hey, what are you guys talking about? And then, try to make jokes out of that or whatever. But they just wouldn't shut the fuck up. And it got to a point where, like, I also hadn't had weed in like 3 days. And because I forgot, I live in a liberal bubble, and I forgot that weed is not legal everywhere. So I did not have weed when we got to Kansas. and I did not have weed the entire time we were in Kansas, which was for 3 days. And so I was already on edge, and then they would not be quiet. And like, it was just one of those things where it's like, you're trying to talk to them. And even if you kind of have the moral high ground, I'm like, people still aren't really laughing now. You know, like, I'm not being that funny. The crowd is on my side, but they just ain't laughing that much, you know, because I am coming off more pissed off than I am funny, you know. And it kind of came to a head with one of the women. I asked what she did for work, and she went, nope. And I was like, well, that's new for me. Now I got to talk to you, you know, like, you could have just lied and said something, but now I'm going to crawl on your ass, you know. What do you do for work that's so important? You know, you Secret Service, whatever. And then a guy at her table was like, I'll tell you what she does. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. And I started talking to him. And like, to be fair to this lady, I still don't want to blow up her spot, but like, she had some high position in her company, in a company no one knows who the fuck they are, but this is just a woman that thinks she's the main character. You know what I mean? So she doesn't say what her job is, because she sees our cameras. We tape every show, you know. She's like, I don't want to say where I work, and then I get in trouble at work. But that the problem is that is all unbeknownst to me at the time. At the time on stage, all I know is that she wouldn't tell me. This guy tells me where she works, and then pretty soon after, she like gets up and she leaves. Like, it totally fucking disrupts the show, you know? And I do the Willy Wonka thing of like, oh no, you're leaving? Come back. No. You know, like, still being an asshole. That at least got a little laugh.
That is funny.
Yeah, but then it was just like, and from there it was just like, I don't know, like, I knew it was a bomb because afterwards people were coming up and telling me that it wasn't my fault. That's how you know you ate shit as a comedian. They're like, hey, fuck those people. All right. It'll be better next time. And I was like, I know. This is not my best showing tonight. You know, I've done well with hecklers before in the past, but tonight was an absolute L, you know? And I didn't even realize what the problem was till I got off stage, and then I went out to smoke a cigarette, and then those two of the women from the table were up front. And the woman who was upset was still at the table, and her friend came up to me while I was smoking and, you know, said like, hey, this is why she's upset. And like, please don't post anything online. And I was like, you're real lucky that I bombed, because it's not funny. So I'm not going to post it online. So you win, you know, you win by being really annoying and terrible to deal with. And my clip is terrible. So fuck no, I'm not going to post that clip. Your job at your bullshit dinky little company is safe, you know?
Yeah. And I've met so many. Being a plumber, I work in people's houses every day for 30 years now. So, and I know that type too, because they're in their own little world.
Yeah.
And in their world, they're very important.
Yes.
But when they walk out the front door, they're just another person. And it's like, you know, it's like all ego, you know, like, you know who I am. It's like, no, nobody does. So shut
Ego
the fuck
sucks.
up.
Yeah.
You know?
It's totally ego. That's one of my favorite terms that I've heard come out of. I feel like I've heard this more this year than any other year, but the term main character syndrome. I love that term. And that's like, that is all a heckler is someone suffering from main character syndrome.
Yeah.
But like I said,
so
most hecklers are very nice. Most hecklers have just been people that agree with me too much. And I have to be like, I appreciate your energy and I love your enthusiasm, but just break it down.
I'm working here. I'm doing something.
Exactly. I'm doing something up here, man. I only got so many minutes. I'm doing something. Yeah. But yeah, that's the one that sticks out to me, I think, as far as the worst heckle, because I don't think I've had anybody be like that outwardly aggressive or like that outwardly like fuck you about it. Like, I'm not going to talk to you even though I'm interrupting your show. I think that one probably takes the cake, because most of my other heckler stories are endearing and adorable, and me and the heckler are best friends afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Got a question in the audience here.
Okay.
Which one?
Have you heard the Canadian comedy troupe Danger Cats? Is that the one you're looking at?
Mm-hmm.
I have not. I'm sorry.
I haven't either.
I'm sorry, Point Fire. I'm a bad comedian. You know, I'm not well studied.
Yeah, you're terrible. Hey, Steve, so there's a question we ask everyone.
Okay.
Oh shoot, yeah, that's right. See, I was so excited Stephen Bolles was here. I
So
forgot.
was I, yeah.
But this is what and this has nothing to do with comedy. This has nothing to do with anything. This is just a question
Perfect.
I ask everyone. Um, do you believe in ghosts, aliens, and or Bigfoot, or all three?
Ghost, yes. Alien, yes. Bigfoot, not as sold on, but would be thrilled to find out was real. Bigfoot, not as sold on, but ghosts, aliens, yes. And I'm bummed. I don't have any good ghost or alien stories at all. I have zero encounters. I'm a very willing participant, and no one has ever haunted me or abducted me. And I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm ugly or something. I don't know. I don't know why they haven't picked me yet. I'd be very down for it. I remember the only time I ever seriously thought I was going to be haunted was there was one time. This is back in Virginia a few years ago. I started with a comedian named Sean Malik, who is a very funny guy, awesome fucking dude. And this is a ghost story, so you see where this is going. Sean passed away. He ended up taking his own life. He was a veteran. He did a couple tours in Afghanistan, and he was just still one of the funniest people that we knew. But whatever demons he was fighting, got the better of him. And he ended up taking his own life. This was probably back in 2015 or 2016, I want to say. And, we were close and everything. And then about a year or so later, I went down to Virginia and I'm hanging out with my boy Travis, who was also best friends with Sean when Sean was alive. And we're hanging out at Travis's place. Travis has a nice place down in Virginia, too. He had a guest bedroom that he let me stay in. And I mentioned to Travis that I was bummed that I didn't have any good pictures that were just me and Sean. Like the most that we had were like some group photos, but I didn't have any photos like with just Sean. And then Travis goes, "Oh, well, you can take a picture with him now," and then opens up a drawer and pulls out a bag of ashes. And it was Sean's ashes in the drawer. And I was like, "You have these?" And he's like, "Yeah, his ashes got divided between his family, his girlfriend, and me. And so I have this bag." And so I took a picture with the bag and everything. I put it on Facebook so our mutual friends would see. But then that night, I got to sleep knowing this bag is right here. And it's like, dude, I'm like, Sean is going to scare the fuck out of me. He is going to knock something off a fucking shelf. He's going to jump out, say boo. He's going to be an apparition or something. And I was terrified all night. And then eventually I fell asleep and then woke up completely unscathed. And I was a little offended. I was like, fuck you, Sean. I thought I'm not special enough to haunt. What the fuck? I'm sleeping next to your fucking ashes. Is that not good enough?
Right. And he didn't poop in your car, correct?
Yeah, there was no poop in my car when I woke up. No poop. Maybe it was ghost. Maybe it was ghost poop. I couldn't see it, But yeah, it was there until I sold the car. Who knows? But that was really the only time I ever thought that I'm like, tonight's gonna be the night. But otherwise, no, I don't have any good ghost stories. I don't have any good alien stories. I've never seen a UFO. I've always wanted to. Also, what's something that disappointed me? My mom was a commercial pilot for United for like 30 years.
Wow. She was a pilot? That's awesome, man.
Yeah, she actually she flew for the Navy. She flew C-130s for the Navy. And then she flew commercially for Pan Am when Pan Am was still a thing.
I remember them.
Yeah, and then when Pan Am dissolved, she started working for United, and she worked for them for like 30 years before she retired. And I was just like, "Oh, have you seen a UFO?" And she was like, "No, that shit's dumb." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, goddamn. I was like, I thought for sure she was just like waiting to be on her deathbed to tell me or something, like, I don't want to sound crazy, but this is what I saw. But she was absolutely the opposite. She was like, "No, I never saw no fucking UFO." And I was like, all right, well, I don't know anybody who's had their eyes in the sky as much as you, so who knows? But their aliens are definitely real. The government says they're real, so I'm inclined to believe them.
That's funny because we have so much in common right there. Because yeah, I don't even know if it's a ghost story or an alien story, or it could be a ghost and alien story. And that was from over 20 years ago. But my sister passed away in 2020 and she had like that dark humor that it's like only funny to her. I thought for
Okay.
sure. And it's like, yo, Stacy, it's been 4 years. Are you gonna fuck with me or not? You know? But
Yeah,
still,
you start to feel a
still
little
no.
left out, right?
I know, right? It's like, what did I do? Did I piss you off? Or does it take a while before you can figure out how to fuck with the living still? I don't
No
know how
Bob
that works.
Marley moments.
Say again.
No Bob Marley moments.
Oh no, no
Screwed.
Bob Marley moments. I
Yeah.
had my grandma swore that there was, and my grandma died when I was like probably in 5th grade or something. So this is forever ago, but like she does swear that she had a ghost at her door, and it was like I think her uncle or something. But she said she heard a knock at the door, and she looked out the door, and it was her uncle wearing the same suit that he was buried in. And then she did like a double take, and he was gone. And I'm like, that's it. That's as much as my family knows about ghosts. We're totally tapped otherwise.
That's spooky.
Yeah, right. It is spooky. Also, but that's the thing. It's like I say I'm a willing participant. I am also a bitch, and I would be. It would really fuck me up if if anything
That's
were to
me
go
too,
bump
though.
into
That
me.
I'm
You're gonna
laughing because
run.
me too. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like sitting there going, "Come on, Stacy, fuck with me." But then if she does, I'm gonna be like, "Ha ha! What the
Yeah,
fuck?"
it's like I want the story afterwards, but I don't want to actually shit my pants. You know. Like,
That's so true.
I
I
actually
work.
remember one time. I thought I was gonna get haunted, and then I thought I was gonna get robbed because when my grandfather on my dad's side passed away, and there's like they did the thing where there's like a viewing and a funeral or whatever. I don't remember which one comes first, but my dad said I didn't have to go to one of them, so I didn't. I stayed at my grandparents' place, and it was just me there. And that was it, just me in the house. And then I was talking to my mom on the phone, and like she and my dad had split at this point, so she's not there. You know what I mean? She's in Virginia, I'm in Rhode Island, and we're just catching up on the phone. And my mom tells me, like, "Oh, well, it's good. It's good that you're at the house in case someone tries to break in." And I was like, "Why would this ain't Law and Order? Like why would someone try to break in?" And she said, "No, that's like a really common thing that criminals will check obituaries." Because then they know that the house is going to be empty at the time of the viewing. And then that scared me more than any like prospect of ghosts, where I was like, oh, I'd much rather deal with ghosts than the living. Now
Right.
they know my grandparents' house is empty, and old people have generational wealth. Like no one's breaking into my apartment as a 25-year-old, but my grandparents' place, they could just fucking pop in, see what we got. And so I was enjoying my night, and then all of a sudden I was just terrified until everybody else came home from the viewing or whatever. I was like, shit, I should have gone.
Yeah, because dude, that would be scary. Yeah, I'd rather deal with the ghost too. That'd be scary as hell to yeah, dudes break in with weapons or whatever, and then it's like, where's the ghost at, man? Fuck this.
Well, I work afternoons every night. I'm the last one to leave, setting the alarm in a huge place. And there's like homeless and vagrants outside. Not that homeless are vagrants, but there's a difference. But they basically all around the building. So I'll hear noises all throughout the place, and I'll just be yelling. I turn my music up, I'll hear these big booms in there, and I'm like, okay, is somebody in here or what? So I'm like, I start yelling, hey, I'm down here, and if you come down here, I'm gonna start busting caps. I'm just letting you know. And don't come down here. And then I just keep working.
Yeah, no, the best thing you can do is yell, because that's the thing about TV is that like they dramatize it so much. You kind of got to remember that most thieves or most people breaking and entering, if they hear someone, they're going to run away immediately.
Oh yeah, and I'm joking about the busting the caps thing, but I figured,
yeah,
it'd be funny at least. Except for my boss when he replays the video and he's like, what did you mean by busting caps? I'm like, oh, the hammer, the caps on the ground. When you're a kid.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, it's pretty spooky, man. You hear
I
stuff in
certainly
there.
didn't mean it. Yeah.
Right.
No, that's funny. Actually, I do have a good breaking and entering story.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, no, this was semi recently. This was a few months back with the girl that I've been seeing. And this was like the first time I had stayed over at her place. And this is down in Virginia. and I stayed over at her place first night. It was right after Christmas, and so I get down there and I get to her place to spend the night, right? And then at like 8 a.m, we thought, like, the way her apartment is, it's like there's the front door and then there's a back door to the like back stairs of the apartment, like that you can also enter through. So at like 8 a.m, like we thought we heard that door open, but like she also has 2 cats. So I'm just like, I used to have 3 cats for a long time. And I'm like, anytime I heard a scary noise, it was just the cats, fuck it. It's just the cats. Don't worry about it. And so we hear this noise at 8 a.m, and I'm like, it's just the cats, probably, fuck it. Who cares? Don't worry about it. But then we heard the door close, and I was like, oh, fuck, the cats can't do that. Like that ain't the cats. And so this is the first time I'm at her place. We had just started dating, like maybe a month or 2 prior. And like, I got to do the guy thing of getting up and checking, right? I got to get up immediately and go check. And I'm butt ass naked in bed. I get up. I look around the room. I don't see any clothes. So I'm just like, fuck it. Can't wear clothes. I'm like, this is time sensitive, And then I look around her room for a weapon, for anything. And there's nothing. There's nothing heavy. There's nothing I can use. And so like, I was like inching towards the living room, and I just gave a real strong, like, hello, like I called it a strong hello, like that's, you just got to let them know someone is fucking here. And I'm like, but in my head, I'm in full male lizard brain mode of protect her, fuck your safety. I was like, if I see so much as someone's shoulder in this living room, the only weapon I have is the element of surprise. And a big naked motherfucker running at them is pretty surprising. And so, I give this strong hello, and then I look in the living room, and there's nobody there. And then I peek around a little bit further to the kitchen where the door is, and there's still no one there. And I walk around, I do a little sweep. I get to the kitchen. There's nobody there, but I swear to God, there's a brand new TV in a box sitting in her kitchen. Like, I swear to God, like fucking Santa Claus. What? And so I was like, there's no one here, but there's a fucking TV. And then my girl finally checked her phone, and she sees that her mom has been trying to message her all morning. Like, hey, I got you this TV for Christmas. You forgot it here. I'm just going to bring it over. And so she didn't answer her all morning. And so she just brought the TV over and like just dropped it off in the kitchen because she has a key to the place. And I was like, oh my God, I almost naked tackled your mom,
Right. That's crazy, dude.
I was just cracking up about, because I was like, dude, that would have been hilarious. Like, you would have seen her, and then before all that, I was going to say, that's the best way to kind of get out of a fight. Just strip down butt naked and be like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. Say, hey, mom, how you doing?
Her mom.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh my God.
I'll be like, hey, this is what your daughter's working with. You should be happy for her. She actually, the mom said some funny shit over text messages. She said that, like, because my girl was like, why didn't you say anything? Like, we were scared. Why didn't you announce yourself? And she said, I was about to say something, but then I saw his boots, so I just left.
That's the only time that feminism means nothing, is when someone's in the house or there's a noise. It's always, they send the guy, always. Feminism is out the window right there.
Yep. You got to go as the guy. And I agree with you, but also not for nothing on some, like, it tickled that toxic masculinity part of my brain that was like, oh, yeah. You did that right. You did everything you were supposed to do, like.
Yeah, you're gonna, hello?
Yeah.
like, honey, you're strong, honey. You go take care of it.
Yeah, butt naked, chest. I go, hello, like fucking trying to scare somebody with my hello, And I was very happy. She told me later, she's like, oh, I totally told my mom how ready you were to fight. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm getting major points right now,
Right.
But I am very glad I did not tackle her mother. I was like, I'd have to marry this chick at that point, like we known each other 2 months. I might as well get married again, I tackled her mom naked.
Right. You got a free TV out of it still.
Exactly. She got a free TV out of it, which of course I mounted. Duh. That's my shit.
Yeah.
Well, thank God you didn't mount the mom.
Yes. No, We don't mount girlfriends' moms in this house. All right, just the TVs.
That's a no.
That's a
They
big no-no. You know, I was
easily
raised
turned
Christian.
into could have easily turned into an awkward threesome.
Well,
But
if it was dark, can you
Yeah.
imagine if it's just totally dark and you just bum rushing there naked and then like, oh my God.
No, that was the thing. I was glad it wasn't that dark. The sun was up, thank God. Because if it was dark and I saw a shadow, I would have fucking, oh man, it would have been bad. It would have been, or at least her mom would have heard me use a lot of colorful language, you know?
She probably shut the door hard on purpose to let you know she was there to freak you guys out.
Maybe. I don't know. I just did think, I was like when I saw the TV, my first thought was like, Santa. You know, like this is it's Christmas. A random TV is now. Did Santa break in? This. Oh my God, this is crazy. But
He's
yeah,
probably
no,
like, George, that man is over here again. Should we go upstairs? No. He's probably naked.
Yeah. He's Sam. Yeah, her naked boyfriend is up there causing havoc again.
that guy's over again.
Yeah.
Slam the door and scare the shit out.
Yeah, that guy that makes too much noise in the apartment and then stinks up the balcony with cigarettes and then goes back in. That's that guy. Oh.
You're the favorite for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the town hall favorite.
Well, yeah, let's check out another clip from Stephen's stand-up.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Does this one go? I think it does.
Ooh, I like this one.
Oh shit.
He was a veteran stoner, 10 plus years. Anybody? Yeah. And y'all will relate to this. This is the funny thing to me about all 10 years. All we talked about was how great it would be when everything was legalized. And to be honest, now, like, I'm a little bitter about how available it is. Used to be a real skill set to be able to cop some weed. I used to be much more needed, okay? That's the point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely go to the pin link at the top, everyone. The pin link at the top is Stephen's YouTube channel. Definitely go check it out. The full special's on there.
Yeah, that's another bit that hits close to home for me.
Yeah, because that's so true. Like I was thinking, because I don't really smoke, but everyone I know does. I grew up, everyone I knew, like it's just not for me, but I got nothing against it. I'm for it 100%. But like the whole thing where like, now I can just go to a store or whatever and just buy it. Like I miss the, going in a dark alley and not sure who you're getting it from or, and not know what you're getting and all that shit. Like put the excitement into it.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It used to be kind of some outlaw shit, it was kind of fun for a little while, like especially in Virginia. Virginia is, I think, still to this day, not a good state to be caught with weed. They do not fuck around with the weed here, I don't think. Maybe times have changed. I just got back here. But back when I started smoking, it was an experience. And it's like, I agree with you that sometimes with these stores, I'm like, it's almost too fancy. It's almost too much. Like I've been smoking weed for 10 years. And you know what bothers me is the weed, like the bud tenders, like the people that they're like weed sommeliers, because I also think sommeliers are full of shit. And I think that is a fake profession, because like there's been studies like where they have regular people and sommeliers and no one is better at distinguishing wine from taste than the other person is, like they're just kind of bullshitting a little bit. And I feel the same way about the bud tenders, because they're like, oh, this bud will make you creative and this one will, help you ride a bike. And I'm like, dude, I've been smoking weed for 10 years. I've smoked every single kind of weed under the earth, and all of them make you giggly, hungry, and sleepy. And then that's it, like you're selling a dream to these poor losers that couldn't find weed before it was legal,
Right.
And trying to make them feel like, oh, this is the creative outlet that I need. And I'm like, man, I smoked weed for 10 years and it didn't make me famous. It didn't make me more creative, like it maybe it did, I'm not saying it didn't. I'm a proud stoner, but at the end of the day, it's a vice, just like anything else. It's a vice like drinking, like anything. So I'm like, yeah, it usually just makes me dumber and eat more, and then I fall asleep. Not great for productivity. You know,
We love you, YouTube, and we're talking about dandelion.
Right.
Oh, excuse me.
Well,
Yes.
no, that's the funny part though, is like, because that's true. Because like when I say I don't smoke, I have smoked, I do smoke, but I'm just not, because like I have friends that are like, oh no, and I'm like, dude, I can't smoke during the day. We're like working. I'm like not going to be able to focus, and they're like, no, that's because you're smoking the indica. You got to smoke the sativa, and then I will, and I'm like, same way as I was on the other shit, like
Yes. Yes, I
doesn't
feel
make a
very much the
difference.
same. I remember the first time I ever smoked at work was in like 2013 or 2014 or something in Virginia, because I had just bought the PAX vaporizer. And this isn't a time, this was before we had all these fun little weed pens that you could just buy and throw away. The PAX
Yep.
vaporizer was big news. I thought this shit was going to be like the iPhone of smoking weed, because it was a vaporizer that would take flower, dandelions, so most vaporizers you'd need special shit for. This was the first vaporizer you could put the dry regular flower into it, and it turns it into a vapor. And I said, this is going to be perfect for work. I work at a TGI Fridays, like I'm crazy to not be burning it up at work all the time anyway. And I remember I brought it to work. It was like an afternoon shift. It's dead, it's the ideal shift to smoke a little weed at. And I went into the bathroom. I ripped this thing a couple times, and like I thought it was a sativa. So I'm like, all right, that should be good. Who knows? But I got out of the bathroom, and then immediately the hostess was like, oh, the manager and the GM are seated in your section, and it's like a test. Like you have to serve them and upsell them stuff,
Shit.
and like they're gonna test your
And
skills.
that's the first time.
Yeah, my first
you
time smoking weed at work, and it's the first time I am blitzed as fuck at work. And I was just like, the only thing that made me feel a little better, I did an eye check in the bathroom, and like my eyes weren't red, so I was like, okay, like we can get away with this. And I thought everything went great. I thought I did a good job. And then afterwards, the manager was like, why did it take you so long to get our drinks? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, it was like 12 minutes between ordering and then getting the drink. And outwardly, I was like, well, I'm sorry, I grabbed them at the service bar as soon as I saw them. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the time. But in my head, I was like, holy shit, that was 12 minutes. I thought I was so fast grabbing those drinks, dude. I'm like, I can't believe anything got out there on time.
Dude, that's funny. Yeah, for me, it slows. Like for me, I'm thinking like 12 minutes went by, but everyone's like, it was like 30 seconds ago. What are you talking about? And I'm like, okay. And then the paranoia kicks in, and then it's just over. And then I'm like, I just got to be alone. I can't be around anyone. Freaking out.
You know what it is with dandelion? I feel like it turns on you sooner or later. And I think a lot of long-term stoners would agree with me on that. It turns on you eventually, where like I've told people, like I've fallen out of love with it at this point, where, for almost 10 years, it was a daily activity, every day before bed, at least, I'm rolling up and sparking up. But like now I'm just like, dude, I don't even care enough, like I can take it or leave it. Like if I'm in a social setting and someone has it, I'm happy to partake. But at this point, I'm just like you said, it just makes me paranoid and tired. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's not as much of my jam as it used to be.
Right. Mm-hmm. Blue unicorn. That's
Oh wait, what do you say? Hold on, let me look at the chat.
Only now I say stuff like, when I was your age, we had to pick seeds out of our brick weed. Or when I was your age, we had to make pipes out of hardware fitting, and you know what? We liked it fine.
Exactly.
So.
Dude, I agree with Blue Unicorn. Because that's what bothers me when people are like, oh, what strain is it? I was like, dude, back in my day, you don't ask what strain it is. I would just go to the busboy at TGI Fridays, and he would give it to me in a to-go ramekin, like a sauce container. And I was very happy to get it. Didn't matter what it was. I was very grateful he was there.
Yeah.
Calling it a strain just freaks me out in itself. Like,
right. Yeah.
It's like I probably don't even know what weed is anymore, because I haven't smoked in so long. Probably like this stuff would probably put me in the hospital. It's so strong.
It's it's too messed with now, like back then it was all natural, like the way God intended it to be. Mm-hmm. This is a plant, it's used to cure people. It's a medicine.
Mhm.
And then now it's like all these strains. It's like, well, what the hell did you do to it to make it so different?
Yeah, what
You know?
chemicals are in this that are making it
Right. Yep.
making you so loopy? Like, and I
It's
remember
like,
I remember feeling that way with I don't know if she wants me talking about this, so I'm going to talk quieter because I'm in her house. But when my mom smoked weed after she retired, it's like, you know, she's a child of the 70s, you know, so it's like she's familiar with it, but she ain't smoked it in a long time. And like she was very excited to try it again. And it was almost like disappointing to me as her son because like she tried it and I was like, you know, did you enjoy it? She's like, no. I was like, this is not what I remember to be weed. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's, you know, it's been 40 years or whatever. It's a little different, you know. But
right.
When
but
we were
yeah.
young, we had like the Mexican red hair garbage. It didn't even smell good, and then you'd smoke like 5 to get a slight buzz.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we were poor, and that's what we could afford.
Well, yeah, the homegrown. We used to call it the homegrown.
Smoke the sticks.
Yeah, we called
Yeah.
them mids.
But yeah, I couldn't hang today in these days. Probably not.
I know. I like to say I can hang, and it's just from 10 years of really working on my craft, you know, of being able to smoke in public places. I always feel like smoking in public places is like it's like training with weights on, in a sense of like if I can do this in public, then like when I'm sober in public, nothing phases me anymore, you know.
The last time, I think it was about 7 years ago, I found some in my garage because I think my brother left it there. And I'm like, oh, I'll try it. And I was watching it that night
Oh,
in the garage, right? I got the door open. It's dark. It's like
oh
midnight.
no, bad idea.
I'm in a recliner and I'm like, I kept hearing noise. I'm jumping out of the chair, looking around. Is there somebody out there? And like my wife's like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But for like an hour straight, I was just looking all over the place. Every noise, I'm looking around. I'm like, dude, this stuff sucks. Why did I smoke this stuff?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like that sometimes for sure.
Paranoia.
Paranoia gets you.
Paranoia.
I got bad dandelions. I also thought, like, what if there was something else on it? Who finds that like weed in their garage and just goes, "Hey, I'm gonna smoke this." Like you don't even know where it came from in your own garage.
Yeah.
Probably a bad decision.
I've done some reckless shit like that. I have done dandelions and other supplements that I found out in the world.
Oh yeah.
There was, I found I don't know what you can and can't say on YouTube, but I found a bag one time in the city, and I remember opening it, and then I'm like, well, kind of looks like all the other ones I've ever had, you know, like I'm gonna dip my finger in it, my gums, and I'm like, feels like every other time I've ever done it, you know, it should be safe for consumption. And then turns out it was. So, you know, risk
Dude,
reward.
you want to hear a crazy story? This happened in 2020 also because me personally, I've been to Vegas once as a child with my parents, so I don't really remember it. So as an adult in 2020, March 2020, me and my wife and her oldest son and youngest daughter went to Vegas. So I'm like, sweet, I'm finally gonna go to Vegas as an adult, right? We get there. We were there for, I think we gambled for like an hour. And then that's when the whole pandemic shit and they shut Vegas down. But anyway, before that happened, you know, me and Kavika are hanging out in the casino gambling. Dude comes up and he's like, hey, you know, and I'm like, oh man. And then I'm like, fuck it, man, it's been a long time, dude. So I go in the bathroom with him and, you know, gives me a little bit. I'm just like, oh, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, man. And then I go back out. I'm like, dude, I just got some good shit. And we go out to the car and oh my God, dude, like I'm surprised our nose didn't start bleeding. He did the switcheroo. He ripped me the fuck off is what he did.
No.
So, yeah, it's like he got, but hey, touche to him, man, because that's what hustlers do, right? They hustle you.
You didn't need it anyway. You didn't need it.
Exactly. I didn't, and that's why I say everything happens for a reason, because I didn't need it. I shouldn't even considered it in the first place. But I was in Vegas for the first time, and then I only got to gamble for an hour, and we spent the rest of the week in Vegas, but we couldn't do anything because it's like America was shut down.
Yeah, when in Rome, do a little bit of coke before Rome shuts down.
Right. Yeah, it's supposed to stay there, right? Whatever
What
happens.
kind of luck is that? Go to Vegas and then they shut down for the pandemic like an
Yeah,
hour
dude,
after
that
you're
is
there.
terrible luck. That super sucks.
I mean, it sucks, but at the same time, it's kind of cool in a weird way, because to see Vegas like that, like we were there and it was just fully packed, like just like you would imagine. And then an hour later, it's just emptying out, and then you're just looking around like, because what happened was my wife's oldest son ended up knowing one of the cops that was working there, and he's like, oh, so we hung out there long, they're forcing everyone out, but we're still there. And it's like, you watch it from like what you imagine it is, and then all of us, you're just looking around going, oh, it's like a ghost town, dude. It's crazy.
All that fear of the unknown.
Right.
Like, what is it? Is it like something anthrax or something?
Yeah, no, I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, I was still with my ex-wife at the time, and well, wife at the time, but ex-wife now. But her whole family is from Madrid, and it was like we saw everything that happened in America happened in Spain like a month beforehand. So it felt like we knew this thing was coming and no one else did,
Right.
And yeah, it was actually kind of perfect because we were supposed to get married at the end of March. And we were pretty quickly like, that might not happen. And so like mid-February, we asked for all of our deposits back. And weddings are expensive, and the deposits are crazy expensive. And like, it was so funny because we as a country was not taking COVID seriously at all yet. And whenever we messaged like the venues or the caterers for our deposit back, I swear to God, every email had this undertone of like, all right, you hypochondriac, here's your money. Let us know when you want to have a wedding. And so, dude, we got all the deposits back. We got around 20 grand in deposits back just before shit shut down. And it's like, dude, we rode that 20 grand for it saved our lockdown basically, because neither of us were working. So it ended up working out beautifully. But I would have much rather been stuck in Vegas than our tiny ass little 1-bedroom in Manhattan.
Right.
Yeah. It was
actually
crazy.
You know what, when I think about it, when we came back from Vegas back here to Hawaii, and that was because I'm a plumber, and I own my own company, so it's just me. I don't have employees or nothing. It's just me. Dude, the roads are wet. I was getting to every job in like record time, and I was loving it. And then when it was done and all the people started driving again, I was like, no, get off the road. You guys are ruining
Go
traffic.
home.
So that's the only thing I miss.
Y'all should be sheltering in place, being a good citizen. Let the plumbers out on the road,
right?
And the contractors and the people, actually the essential workers that should be using these roads, dude. I
that
felt
are contributing. We're contributing to society.
Yeah, dude. Manhattan was the same way because like I was on TaskRabbit doing moving gigs, and around that time, it's like everyone was moving out of the city. So it was like, dude, I was working 2 or 3 moving jobs a day for like months at a time, just making hand over fist money. Like it was incredible. And then, like you said, all the roads were empty. Dude, I would bike down 5th Avenue in the middle of the fucking lane, no traffic. It was low key kind of amazing. I was also never more fit because I was biking everywhere and doing moving gigs. So I had my hot girl summer in 2020, and everybody missed it because they were inside.
It sucked so much about contracting back when the pandemic started was every freaking place was closed. So say you're out in the boonies working and you had to take a dump or whatever. It's like you could not find a place to go to the bathroom. Like 45 minutes every direction almost. It's like, oh my God, I got to carry a bucket. Are we back to the caveman days or what? I'm gonna make a bucket.
I know it's like if I had to go number 2, I was screwed. But to be honest, I got real good at peeing in public in the city during the pandemic. Because same as you on the contractor thing, it's like I might have an odd like hour or 2 hours or 3 hours in between jobs, and it doesn't make sense to go home because then I'm like, what, commuting for 2 hours and then chilling at home for an hour, and it's like, fuck that. I'd rather just stay out, But it's like.
Yeah.
I'm just out and about in the city. And like you said, there ain't even Starbucks open. There is nothing available to the public. And I'm the public urination champion at this point, as far as I'm concerned. I know all the tricks of the trade. You know what my real rule is with peeing outside? Your viewers can take this with them. This is something else that I think should be written into law. I think if you have to pee outside, as long as you don't make eye contact with anyone, it's not a crime. Yeah.
Right.
If you're just standing there looking down, everyone else knows what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Just finish up and get gone. If you don't make eye contact with anyone, I don't think that's a crime.
Poor little Johnny at the corner. Don't look.
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's so true. Because it's like everyone knows that when you got to go, you got to go. So if I'm going and I'm just staring you dead in the eyes, then, whoa, that's creepy. But if I'm just like, I got to go, I'm just looking.
That sounds like some kindergarten stuff. Like I'm hiding behind a piece of paper, pretending you can't see me.
Oh, dude, yeah, there was a lot of kindergarten shit like that for sure. I'd be just like near the side of a building in the dark and be like, okay, this is far away enough.
Nobody can see me. Those cameras aren't real up there.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if the cameras see me. Oh well, I just don't want a cop on the street to see me. That's the only thing you have to look out for.
Right. So here, let's I want to play this one real quick because we were just talking about the moving and everything.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
This fits in perfect. So.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
And after the pandemic, now all my jobs have become either moving gigs or handyman work. And that is great for me. I have finally found fields of work where if you show up and you have a ponytail, people just assume you know what the fuck you're doing. Treated like a professional now. It's great. Y'all want to hear the best moving story I got during the pandemic? Yeah. All right, good. There was one time I got hired by like this young NYU chick. She's there with her dad. They're picking up some stuff in the living room. I went to her bedroom. I picked up one of her backpacks, and it was vibrating. Yeah, you get it. She wasn't getting a phone call. I picked up this backpack like. So now I'm like, shit, I'm stuck. I can't bring this out to her. She's right next to her dad. It's embarrassing. But some ponytail professionals. So without ever opening her bag, I just started like feel around, see if I could find it. And I did. I found it. On the bottom, not only did I find it, I recognized it. It was a magic wand, dude. Hell yeah. Y'all can't see it. I can see it from up here. Ladies' eyes light up with those 2 words, bro. Fellas, I'm telling you, buy your girl a magic wand, all right? Why all the dudes get so quiet when I say that shit, man? They always do. Dudes get so quiet when you talk about bringing toys into the bedroom. It is the dumbest shit ever. Like, what? You're worried he's going to take your job, bro? Fuck that, man. That thing don't pay for HBO Max. I do, all right? Oh, yeah, bro. I got Hulu, no ads, grown Stephen shit, all right? Don't talk to me.
No, they don't know that joke.
I'll go so far as to say, if I bought that one, that thing's an extension of me as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, baby, I ain't claiming to have no $1 million dick, but here's a $200 dick from space you can use. And fellas, it's good for us, too. I don't know about y'all. I'm 31 now. I only got so much cardio in me. I'll fucking tag team that bitch all day. All day. I love that thing. So anyway, I find this wand. I recognize that it was a wand. I even recognize the setting it was on. It was on the number 1. Y'all know the number 1. The fans of the number 1, fellas, take notes, all right? Should be eating that pussy like, So anyway, I find this one. I gotta clarify. I never touched this woman's vibrator. Okay, that would be gross, right? But I know how it's laid out. So from the outside of the backpack, I managed to pinch it, spin it around, found a power button, turned it off so she'd have some battery when she was done moving that day. Thank you. Hero, right? I just gotta keep telling the story to season the audience.
And that's good looking out. That is good looking out right there.
Ponytail professional, baby, all day, yo. You know, contracting life, ponytail professionals.
Yep. And it's so true too. Like when the men get all quiet, it's like, no, don't be ashamed of bringing toys into. Man, do not be ashamed of that.
Never. They're there to enhance. You know, they're not there to take away from you. They're there to enhance the experience, man. Like they're so good. I love those things, man. Whatever toy they have, dude, I'm like, bust out whatever you need. You know?
Exactly.
I'm like, because I know I'm gonna have a good time regardless. I want you to have the best time possible.
Exactly. Because I was gonna say a lot of guys that are like, oh well, you know, and it's like you're not as good as you think you are. You need help. That's your right. That's your wingman, or wing, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's your help.
That's your wing wand.
Right. There you go, wing wand.
That's the wing wand right there. It's there for you, baby. Use it. You know. I will say the only hard thing about it I have found, like in my dating experience, I've come to a point where I always am like, you hold it, because I never hold it right. You know, I always move. I always miss the target a little bit. You know, I'm like, you hold the thing. I'm gonna keep doing whatever I'm doing. You hold this. All right. This is your responsibility, you know, like, but it's going to be great for both of us, you know, but it is, I will say, I feel like that's where dudes get hung up on it, is I feel like guys will try it and their girl is just, you know, up again, to the left, up again, to the right, up again, whatever. Like they get a little too much constructive criticism that make them feel like they don't know what the fuck they're doing, because God knows I've been there, you know, and that's why I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm like, unless we're dating long-term, you know, like if we're dating long-term, like I'll get there eventually. But I'm like, if this is just someone you're casually seeing, you know, I'm like, you hold it, you know, you know the tricks, you know the spots better than I do. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing to, you know, enhance the experience, like we said.
Yeah, I'm gonna do me, and then you know where you want it, and then you do you.
Yeah. Also, not for nothing, it's good for us too, because that vibrating transfers. You know what I mean? Like, feels good on my end too.
Sometimes the transferring part isn't good for me, because it's like, oh shit, I'm done. But I gotta keep going.
Bro, what are we talking about?
That's so funny. Yeah,
Dave's been married for like 70 years. He's like, what happened?
You ain't get your wife some vibrators every birthday, every Valentine's Day?
I'm the boss, bro. I don't even know.
You can still be the boss in charge of your employees, you know?
Yeah.
Let me just die of a heart attack before I.
It's a tax write-off, bro. 1099 tax write-off.
Schedule C, extra 200.
Yeah, exactly. This is so I can do my job better.
Yep. Exactly. Just why I buy bigger, better pipe wrenches, and you know.
I got a big pipe wrench. I bought that big boy. That 3-footer. That 3-footer.
Ooh, that's a real wrench.
They got a real 3-foot pipe wrench.
Oh, you got the 36-inch one.
Yeah.
Shit. What if it was rigid, dude? You probably spent $400 on that.
I got it at that little place on Michigan Avenue that sold used tools, and it was like, I think about $80.
Damn.
Not bad.
I've used it like once or twice.
Nah, yeah. Well, I got a 32-inch one, so close. That's funny. It seems like we're still talking about. Yeah, mine's just a little smaller than yours. Damn it, David. Your shit's bigger than mine.
I like the new aluminum ones.
No, yeah, aluminum guy. Yeah, dude.
They're lighter.
Yeah, it's gotta be aluminum. Screw that.
Yeah.
But that other it's gotta be aluminum. But dude, that shit gets you out of a pinch, man. especially in plumbing.
Yeah, I haven't done too much plumbing, but I do know the value of like that one tool that you never use, and then when you need it, you're so grateful it's there. Even if you just need to use it once a year, that is why it's there.
I don't know if you've ever had like a frozen nut on a pipe, and you're using like the most babyest pipe wrench, and you're putting all your weight in it, it won't pop, and then you put the Big Daddy on, you barely push it, and it just comes loose right away. It's like it's always the tool that does the job. You're only as good as your tools.
Dude, I wish I could transfer the camera for me to walk out to my work van right now and just show you like 5 seconds, and you'd be like, oh yeah, that's what you're because I have like 24 of those tools where that I only use each of them maybe 2 or 3 times a year. But like you said, Stephen, when that time comes, it's like, I got it.
Yeah, it's a good feeling too when you have it and you know you have it. You're like, God damn, I'm good at my job. You know,
Yeah.
I am the man.
Basement rents, you know what I mean?
This is why I charge the prices I charge, because I am ready. You know,
right? Exactly.
Yeah. No, it does make a world of difference when you have the right tools for sure. Because especially doing the handyman shit that I've been doing, it's mostly mounting TVs and stuff like that. But you know what tool changed my life, at least for mounting TVs, was have y'all ever used a laser level before?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, the laser level. Oh my God, I'm just like, oh, I don't have to do math all day. Thank fucking God, dude. Like I can just put this thing on the wall and it maps it out for me. Oh my God.
Instantly too. Yep.
It's the greatest thing ever. And it's like, it's funny. We were speaking on toys. There has been 2 different times where I was at a job, and most of my clients, especially TaskRabbit clients, it's usually young women in the city. They don't know how to mount the TV. And so I go over there, I turn the thing on, and 2 different times I've had women come in the room because the laser makes a noise. It makes a, and they've come in, they said, oh, okay. And I'm like, what? They're like, nothing. And if I'm close with them, they're like, I thought you had found a vibrator. I had one chick say that, and I had another chick come in the room, and I could tell that's what she was thinking, but she didn't say it out loud, But I did have one chick go, "Oh, thank God! I thought one of my vibrators turned on while you were working," and I was like, "No, I just tend to have that effect, But
I just tend to have that effect.
Yeah.
It is the best. Yeah, there's so many, man. If we got into like the skilled trades work stories, or like that, there's so many stories. It's crazy how many stories, because
I know,
especially for me. I mean, I've been doing it 30 years, and first 15 years I was in Detroit or Michigan, a lot of Detroit, but Michigan and Wayne County, and all kinds of crazy stories.
Yeah. I've been on a second floor at Ford Motor Company and putting in like water fountains. They had a main line there, and when I went to turn off the valve for the water, the valve broke right off of the pipe, and this is a 2-inch pipe.
And you're
I'm
on
the second floor, man.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Dude, it was like 100 pounds of pressure of water just flying down the hallway, and I'm like, oh my God. And nobody knew where the shutoff was.
Yeah. Oh my God. We had a bad moment like that at work one time. I actually, thank God, I started working for a company in New York City, and thank fucking God, because if I was just doing this by myself, I would have been on the hook for it, all the damage and shit. But I was working for a company that had COI, and me and another technician ended up hitting a pipe in the wall. And it was so weird because it was a 3-story building. This was the top floor of the building, and we didn't realize that the building had sprinklers. So we didn't even think there was going to be water behind the wall at all. And what's even more misleading was that we use a stud finder. We were trying to mount a projector. It was very heavy. And we put the stud finder on the wall, and you guys know this as contractors, but regular people don't know this. Stud finders don't tell you where a stud is. They just tell you where it's not hollow. That's the trick. We thought we had found a stud right where we needed one. And we're like, oh my God, how lucky is that? That's perfect. And so fortunately, it wasn't even me. It was the other technician. And he did it by the book. We always drill a drywall screw into it, just make sure it feels right. He puts the drywall screw into it. He goes to pull it out, and water just immediately shoot. He's lucky the nail didn't get him in the eye or something, like water shot out of this thing so fast. And we're in some dude's bedroom. It's a nice dude. It's a nice house, wealthy ass dude. And immediately he has like this whole computer set up underneath it that was just soaked immediately from the water. And like, we didn't know where the water shutoff valve was either, but the guy I was working with has more plumbing experience. So basically he ran downstairs, and the only thing we could do was whenever we mount some on the wall, we tape a trash bag like onto the wall underneath it, right? So it's meant to catch the dust. But like, so we had the trash bag there, and I just went like this with the trash bag over the hole. And actually it kind of worked because all the water was going in the trash bag. But dude, the trash bag filled with water probably in like 30 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like I am on a ladder holding a bag full of water. It's a workout, like it was fucking heavy. And then it was like, once it got full, I was like, well, what the fuck do I do? And like, I literally just like dropped it and then grabbed another bag. And so of course all the water gets all over the floor and shit. And so I throw another bag over it, and it's filling up. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then I look over, and I remember he has a balcony. And so all I could really do was I would just hold this bag up. It would fill up with water. And then I'd get down I just had to let it spray. I'd get down off the ladder. I'd throw the garbage bag full of water off the balcony, and then just get another fucking bag and throw it on top. And dude, I got, what is that? PEX? I thought I said P9X.
PEX, like PEX piping. PEX.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might have been it. Yeah. And like, dude, but I swear to God, I think I filled up like at least like a dozen garbage bags full of water before they finally found the valve. Cause it was the main valve was downstairs in their neighbor's apartment. So they did not even have access to it. So it was like, it took a while to get it turned off. And then dude, by the time it did turn off, like we were soaking fucking wet. Like everything in this dude's room, soaking fucking wet. And like, I feel like the only reason he didn't murder us was because the first thing out of my mouth was like, I'm so sorry that happened. We have COI. We have certificate of insurance. It should cover everything. Like, this is why we have it. And I am pretty sure that's why this dude didn't just kick us out immediately,
Dude, that sound is a plumber's worst nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Just and it's like, and right away, because everything you just explained is exactly like how fast that like even in like 10 seconds isn't fast enough to get it turned off. It's like already damaged. Damaged.
Already damaged. And like you said, the water pressure was such that it cleared the whole room. I feel like this room was at least like probably 15 or 16 feet across. And like the water was goddamn near like maybe just like 3 feet below where the hole was, it's like the hole is here and then it's hitting the wall like here across the room. You know what I mean? Like it's spraying so hard. Like, oh my God, that
2-inch pipe was nuts, bro. I had to follow the pipe in the wall. I just kept hitting holes in the wall with my hammer to find where the pipe went to find the shutoff valve. And the shutoff valve was in a closet, like on the sidewall.
Oh, Jesus.
So you were like, fuck it. I'm gonna hit a hole. I'll fix this shit
Yeah,
later.
I just popped holes because it's Ford, and I don't want to lose like all my ability to work there. And they all were like, "Well, you did a great job, man," because that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, that's the thing of trying to recover too. Because I remember when I showed my boss what happened. My boss is like a savant. Like he knows everything about everything when it comes to what's behind walls in New York City and mounting. And like the moment I showed him the stud finder, like the fact that it read as a stud, even my boss was like, oh yeah, I would have fucking put a nail into it too. Like who would have known? Like it was intense. And then the funniest thing, the guy I was working with was actually like, we were supposed to put up this projector and then like build a bunch of IKEA furniture. And I was like, all right, we're going to, clean up and then get out of here. And he was like, don't we have to build the furniture? I'm like, do you really think this fucking guy wants us in his house anymore, dude? Like, fuck that. Like, we just had the worst work experience you could possibly have. I am not staying here to build IKEA furniture. And I know for a fact the guy was being very nice, but I know for a fact he does not want us here anymore. So let's, clean up his room as best we can and just get the hell out of here.
After that, the guy's not like, yeah, please keep going.
Right.
Yeah, please keep flooding rooms in my house.
I was putting in a glass block window one day at this apartment complex. It was actually condos, and I looked across the yard. I kept hearing this guy yell, and he had like got his thumb with a drill bit. He's going through the brick. He's a cable guy. He's trying to get into the basement to run the cable line, and he hit a freaking 220 line. And when he hit the 220 line, dude, it unalived him within 20 seconds.
Damn.
He was smoking. He was toasted, man.
Fuck.
And I was just like, God. But
Dude,
yeah, you really got to be careful, man.
Dude,
that's true. That happened to, you remember Nate, right, Dave?
Yeah.
My buddy Nate. That happened to him. We were working at a house in Detroit. This was like 20-something years ago. And it was a house in Detroit, but there was a house behind the house.
Yeah.
And the house behind the house had an electric heater. So, we told the homeowner, we're like, well, we got to shut the power off. And the homeowner was like, yeah, I already shut it off. It's all good. So I'm on the front porch of that house, and Nate goes inside to start taking the heater apart. And I'm on the front porch. So, and he got hit. Like it was still on. It wasn't shut off, like the homeowner said. And luckily, somehow he got off of it. Wow. And all I heard was this huge, like, fuck. And I'm like, what? And I go in, and he's like, dude, I thought you said the power was out. And dude, the whole rest of the day, I just remember he's like, I'm still seeing yellow dots. I'm still seeing yellow dots.
Jesus, dude. That's why I said, dude, this is why I just mount TVs. I do not fuck with any electrical anything, man.
Right.
That's why I bought that expensive stud finder, the $100 one that can go like 3 inches and tell you exactly what's in the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, worth
electrical or whatever.
Let's see. I was gonna play one more, or not one more, but I was gonna play another. Shoot, which one is it? Oh yeah, okay. Here we go. This is gonna be good.
Everything I'm an educated consumer. One thing I gotta remind myself is that drugs impact everyone differently. You know what I mean? Like I was talking about Molly the other day. I don't know if y'all have done Molly. When people are like, "How many drugs you need to enjoy this music?" That's Molly. It's an amazing time. When I take Molly, I have the time of my life, man. I'm dancing for hours, social butterfly, talking to everyone like they're my best friend. I love it. But maybe that's just me. Because there was one time I was at a party, I was way up on some Molly, but then my buddy had eaten some shrooms and he had been drinking. So he was way down. He was not having a good time. And so I wanted to help him out. And I gave him just enough Molly to have a panic attack. My bad, I'm not a doctor, okay?
Absolute true story. Excuse me. My fault. True story.
That's good.
Were you just doing Molly?
I wish. I didn't know if I could hit a little dandelion pen on YouTube or not.
Molly Ringwald?
No, not Molly Ringwald. Molly.
Hey, Steve, that reminds me of the waitress. We used to call her Molly's Trolley.
Oh yeah, riding Molly's trolley. No,
you remember that? She
I forgot
service coffee before school. Yeah. Steve would ride over on his bike before school. I think, what were we, like 13, 14?
Yeah, 13, something like that. But it was a Coney Island or a family restaurant, whatever, right on the corner of Dave Street. And I lived way the hell over on the other side of where we went to school. And I would ride my bike all the way over there to that place every morning. And we'd have breakfast. And then the waitress lady, Molly, super cool lady. And we'd always be like, "You're gonna ride Molly's trolley." Just
They
stupid
got
shit
mad
like
at us
that.
because we drink like 7 cups of coffee, and they'd be like, "You can only have 2 cups of coffee. You can't sit here and take all the sugar."
At 13, y'all were drinking that much coffee?
Oh, we were
Yeah,
slammed. By the time we got to school, dude, we were just slammed on coffee.
Damn, that's wild, man. That's fine. I think I'm a little bit younger than y'all. I'm 31. Everybody in my generation was already hopped up on Adderall, so nobody needed coffee.
Oh yeah, we
Right.
weren't in that for all days. But
No, I'm mad about that. They missed me. I never got a script, dude. I probably would have stayed in college if I had a script.
Right.
I just had coffee, and that
I did a year in college, man, but it wasn't for me.
wasn't for you. What does that mean? Oh, for your parents or something?
No, I went to be a cop for a year, and then at
Oh,
the end of
wow,
that,
really?
yeah, and at the end of the year, I mean, I was passing with flying colors, but at the end of the year, it just wasn't for me, man. It was like I felt like I'd have to become numb,
Yeah.
basically, to be a police officer. I'd have to become numb. I'd have to be, I'd either be a hypocrite or I'd arrest most of the people I knew.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, it's probably not for me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I actually my second TaskRabbit job ever, I think, was with a cop, and it was a moving gig. And I got there, and it's 2 guys, and they're gay guys. One guy is moving out. I got the vibe it was a breakup, and it was funny because this was in like summer 2020. This is in the middle of a lot of like Black Lives Matter protests, and everybody is fuck the police all day. And I remember when I got there. The dude had his cop uniform on the table, and he came out of the bathroom. And I remember like he saw me see it, and like he looked as if like I had seen his giant dildo on the table or something, like he like was like, worried about me seeing it. But I was like, you know what? I'm like, this is like a gay Hispanic cop. I don't think he's really the problem. Like he's not
Right.
he's
He
not
didn't start
gonna be the
singing YMCA, did he?
yeah, exactly, right? He's more along those lines. And it was funny because like the drive was really long. We had to pack his stuff in his apartment, and then it was like an hour drive to the next apartment. And like, dude, we ended up chopping it up for the whole hour because he was dead ass just like, you got any questions for a cop? Like now's the time to ask him. And like we really went back and forth on a lot of stuff. And he was really honest about a lot of stuff. And I'm sure it's stuff that you probably saw when you were studying to be a cop too, because he was talking about he was like a teacher at the academy for a long time. And I had said something to him about like, a lot of my friends say that cops are just like dudes that got picked on in high school, and now they want a power trip and take it out on other people. I was like, do you think that's a fair thing to say? And to my surprise, he went, oh yeah, there's a lot of that. And I was
There
like,
are some, yeah.
for real? He's like, yeah. He's like, he actually
Right.
said as a teacher at the academy in New York City, it's like there's so much population in New York City. They need so many cops, like, certain number of cops to every, 100 people or whatever, they need a lot of bodies on the force. He told me directly, he's like, I have been pressured to give people a badge and a gun that I know they should not have a badge and a gun, just because we need the people, and my higher ups are pressuring me not to fail anybody. And I was like, I don't know. It's just like, it was just wild to hear him say all that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm used to hearing that from all my hippy dippy comedian friends, but to hear it from a cop actually saying that shit was like, okay, this is, this has some validity to it,
Right.
Yeah, they're
That's
just people, man. They're just like us. They're just they get mad, they have emotions, they get angry.
Yeah.
They
But I
hit
mean,
people
how
at
do you?
times, they do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but when they put their uniform on, it's a little different.
Yeah, definitely. It's like
That's why I didn't do it, because I felt like the first time I saw a kid that had been hurt or someone that had been taken advantage of, that I probably would have pounded them.
Yeah, I believe it, man. I believe it. What made you want to be a cop originally?
Just I thought I could make a difference, man. Because I see my neighborhood slowly changing, and I see the kids out there getting in all kinds of trouble. I thought I could make a difference, but I don't know. I was doing neighborhood watch for like a year and a half, and because I had my own business. I could do it whenever I wanted. So I always did it from like 12 to 3 a.m. And I was seeing all kinds of bikes with backpacks, and guys breaking in cars. I was listening to the scanners. I was, catching guys stealing bikes and breaking in cars and stealing cars. One night I found, I heard on the radio that this kid had hit this old man with a bat, taken the daughter, and taken the mother's car. It was a white van. And so I'm listening to the scanner, and they're like, be on the lookout for the white van, blah, 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 blah. But they don't say it clear like that. They have all these codes, and you got to decipher what the codes mean. But anyway, I'm in the local park in the dark at like 1 o'clock, and in comes this white van that they're talking about. And out from the van comes this kid and this girl. They jump out and they turn out the lights. And literally, they were not on the, where you drive. They went up the grass and parked in between trees in the park. No lights. And so I called them. I'm like, hey, that van you're looking for is right here. And they took off on foot. And then when the cops got there for the van, I took off looking for those guys. And then I found them. I called the cops again, and they picked them up. And I'm like, this is kind of fun, man.
Yeah.
And plus the guy was a douchebag because he hit an old man that was like 67 with a bat in the head,
Yeah, there's no honor in that.
It's like, we need cops for that kind of thing, because who else is going to do anything about it?
Right. That makes sense.
That's
That's a
what I was
wild
thinking.
story too, man. My adrenaline would be pumping. I like to think I'd do something, but that's wild.
It's an adrenaline rush, man. That's for sure.
Dave, do you think if you did become a cop that you would have stayed a good cop, or all right, put it this way, if you were to become a cop and you were in for the good intentions, for morals, all the right reasons, if you went to work and started noticing like, wait, all these other fuckers are just violating people's rights and just abusing their power, would you say something about it? And if you were to say something about it, but then the outcome of that would be you were going to get fired, would you still say something about it?
I'd have to, and I'd be fired, because that's just how I roll. That's who I am.
Well, I already knew the answer because I know you. That's why you never became a cop in the first place. But I'm just kind of giving my point of view on cops.
It's tough, man. We had a fight at my work the other day, and this guy came in and he was threatening to punch people in the face. And the security guy is an ex-cop, 35-year vet. And this guy is he's mental, he's came out of the Marine Corps. He's been spit on. He's homeless. He's in there thinking he's paranoid, right? So anyway, he starts saying he's going to punch people in the face. So the cop tells him, please go outside, go get some air, whatever. He didn't listen. He starts pushing the cop. Then he pushes his face and hits him in the chin. So at that point, the cop punches him twice and then takes him to the ground. 3 guys at my work are holding this guy down. And I'm like, what would the employees have done if that cop wasn't there? So I think we need him. I just don't know. And he seems to be a good cop. But I know there's bad ones. But in that case, we needed a cop.
Yeah, I mean, you need cops definitely for certain situations. I think part of it is, like you said, you went to school for a year, but I feel like I remember hearing somewhere like most other countries, learning how to be a police is like almost like a full university. Like in America, they pass you real fast because they need people out and about. But I know in other countries, like it takes a lot longer to study to become a cop, and here it's like you get passed in a year. You be on patrol.
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's not good.
It's like just that at that point, I'm like, you're just giving a civilian a badge and a uniform and a gun, like they're going to fuck up. They're going to react how a normal human being would react. And it's like, no, you need a lot of stress tests before you put people out in that environment, man.
The girl there was 5'3" and probably 80 pounds, about 90 pounds. And if he's getting aggressive toward her, and I was thankful the dude was there because I didn't want to fight the dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't lose my job over it. But I was thankful that he was there, because what would have happened to her? So at that moment, I thought it was good to have this guy here.
Yeah, they are good. They are useful to have once in a while.
But I think times
Well-
are changing. I mean, I do think people are more corrupt
Well,
than they
and-
used to be. That's for sure.
And that's the shitty part, because let's say there weren't cops, or let's say there were cops but they weren't there, and then you would have reacted to protect everybody, and then you would have got in trouble
That's what I was thinking. Is
for
I'm going to go to
protecting
jail.
everybody. So that all goes back on the cops and everyone above them, which is, yeah. Well, anyway, we're here about comedy. We're not here about
I know. I don't know where we're. Yeah.
that shit, man. Because I could go deep into that, man. And me and Dave would get in an argument, and then everyone would really be like, "I want to hear more." But
That's
that's
good.
not tonight.
That's good. That's why we do podcasts. We can't agree on everything.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And it doesn't got to be stand-up comedy all the time. You know, I'm like, this is a different art, you know?
Right. Well, this is the kind of interaction with cops that I like.
Oh shit.
That's Stephen, by the way.
Yep.
Is it?
Oh look, that's not Steven, that's Pussy Man.
Oh, that's Pussy Man.
It's a totally different guy.
Unsolved mystery music.
Yeah. No, it is me. Pussy Man is my favorite person to be. I wish I could make a career out of Pussy Man because it is so fun. And listen, I didn't pick that name either. It's like, that's my full costume. That's the vagina mask, and I wear it with the pink sweatsuit, and I wear it on Halloween, and I wear it at Pride. And the first time I ever wore it at Pride in New York City, I had people across the street just going, "Oh shit, it's Pussy Man!" And I'd be like, "Yeah!" And my gag the whole day was I'd keep water in my mouth, and when people would say it's Pussy Man, I'd stop, and then I'd rub the clit and then spit water out of my mouth, and it was just like, dude, it was making people laugh all day. As a comedian, it was like crack, you know, like it was just the joke that kept on giving. And so
That's
you can see in
awesome.
the video, the whole front of my hoodie is soaked, and it's because I keep spitting water out of my mouth, and it keeps getting caught
Yep.
on the mask and dropping on my hoodie, you know. Yeah, no,
I
Pussy
see
Man.
that. I see that now, and yeah, I thought it was just part of the costume, but it's because it's from the water. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I had
awesome.
a camelback on so I could keep the like tube from the camelback like inside the mask. So it was like having an infinite amount of water to keep spitting out of my mask. And that was Halloween. So I had that big ass speaker, and I would just walk around blasting WAP by Cardi B and just singing
What?
along to it and dancing with people in the street and stuff, dude. It's like Pussy Man's a celebrity, yo. Like, I never take more photos with people than when I'm wearing that costume or that mask. Like, the first time I wore that mask at Pride, I think I took pictures with like at least 200 people. At least 200 people. You know, like it was so much. It was so fun. You know, it was so fun.
Dude, that's the best, dude. Because like, yeah, that's how I could do that, because having a costume, because no one knows that you're behind that costume, you know.
Dude, the anonymity, it totally makes me more ballsy. It totally makes me make riskier decisions. Like, as a comedian, you know what I mean? Like, it makes me do crazy shit like that, you know. And that's not even that crazy. I've done crazier shit as Pussy Man, but like the anonymity really does make you feel low key, kind of invincible, you know. Like, it'll make you do
Yeah.
dumb shit that you wouldn't do if people could see your face. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's
Pussy
That's
Man is the
awesome.
best. Pussy Man's the best. I got to be honest. I'm reeling right now because I told a friend that I'd be going to her wedding in June. And then she sent the invite. It was June 30th. I RSVP'd. I said I was going to go. And then I checked, when is New York City Pride? And it's on June 30th. And I was like, no, dude. Like, it's one of my favorite days of the year to dress up and act like an idiot and make people laugh and just drink and have an amazing party day. And I was like, I really like my friend. Like, I don't want to cancel on her wedding because Pride's going to happen again next year. You know, like, I'm an asshole if I cancel, but I got to tell you, I was I was pretty bummed out when I figured out Pussy Man will not be at Pride this June in
Man,
New York
and
City.
you got to skip a whole year.
I know. You know what the only saving grace is? I'm going to try to do Pride is on Sunday. I'm going to try to do goofy shit on Saturday because I guarantee there's still going to be a lot of parties and a lot of people out, you know? Not
Right.
as much as Sunday, but there will be enough people out on Saturday, I think, to justify it. So
enough people to appreciate it, right?
yeah,
It's
I
enough
want
at
Pussy
least.
Man to be like a fake New York City celebrity. You know what I mean? Like I want there to be lore. I want there to be a following. I want a cult following for Pussy Man.
I'm pretty sure that'll happen too. That's a great costume.
Thank you. I'm so happy with it, man. It's the best. That mask was only like $60, and it has, oh my God, has that thing paid dividends, man? Like, what's so funny is like that Halloween where I filmed all that stuff. Like, that was the first time I hired someone to walk around with me and film me the whole time. Cause I had done it like once or twice before and just never even filmed shit, you know, like just free agent, just having a good time. And every single time I was like, I wish I had filmed it because I had so many amazing moments that would have been so funny to watch, you know? And so
Yeah.
now I'm like, it's just every Pride and every Halloween, I'm hiring someone to film everything because I need this footage because shit like that is going to happen where you get to be an asshole to cops in a big vagina mask.
Yeah, dude, that happens so much too, where something happens and you're like, shit, I wasn't recording. Or when it happens so fast, by the time you do start recording, it's already over.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And you know what was amazing about it too was like he was filming stuff that I didn't even know was happening because you think it's a mask, you know, I can only see this much in front of me. And then he gave me the footage and there was so much funny shit happening around me, like in response to the mask. Like one of my favorite moments, I put this whole thing out on TikTok of like a compilation of the greatest moments, but there's one moment where I'm walking down the street, I'm singing Bad Bunny. I'm just having a great time walking to myself. And then he pans over and he sees a mother and daughter. And the daughter is probably like 10 years old, 9 years old, something like that. And he pans over to the mother and daughter. The mother sees me. She makes this like horrified face. And then she like grabs her daughter's hand and pulls her in closer. As I was walking down the street, and I was like, oh my God, like that is Pussy Man's supposed to bring joy to people, lady. You don't get the point.
right.
Yeah. Pussy Man spreads joy, not HPV. That's what I like to say.
But I got it's a serious question, but it's also a joke question and a funny question and not a serious question.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see your reaction.
Okay.
Is it true that female comedians are not funny?
Not true.
Not true. All right, cool.
Not true. There are a lot of very funny female comedians. There are a lot of very funny lesbian comedians that I like a lot. You know, like some of the butchier chicks are very funny, but there's also very funny film comedians as well. You know, there's definitely a good handful that I know in New York where like these are women you never heard of in your life. And if I am at a show with them, I am not outside during their set. I'm in the room because I want to see what happens. A lot of comedians smoke break, you know, like either because you don't fuck with their material that much or you've seen it 1,000 times and you know you're cool with them, but you've seen it. There's a good handful of comedians, lady comedians that I'm like I'm in the room for every single time because I'm excited to see what happens, you know. So
Right.
yes, very funny female comedians. Also, Nikki Glazer on fucking Tom Brady's roast was insane. You know, she was so funny. Did you watch that?
I heard about it after it was over and then talked about it and I still haven't watched it yet.
It's one of those, it's really long. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but Nikki Glazer's was, oh my God, just like pound for pound. It was just so funny. It was so painfully funny the entire time. Everybody was great for the most part. All the comedians, I mean, were great. Some of the regular people, I'm like, why are you here? You know. But
Right.
all the comedians were amazing, and she was definitely MVP for the night. She was so goddamn funny, and it made me happy. I actually got to meet her one time because I was a bar back at New York Comedy Club, and one time I get to work at like 4 p.m. and this guy comes in. He's just a guy off the street, and he's like, "Hey, I found this wallet on the ground, and I think it belongs to one of the comedians." And we were like, okay. And we took it from him and we're like, what a fucking weirdo. Like, how would he know if it's a comedian's? And then we opened the wallet and it's Nikki Glazer's driver's license right there. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a pretty famous comedian. Yeah, that, that makes sense that he would know she's a comedian. And so it was perfect because she had been at the club the night before. And I actually got an Instagram story of her, like just a little boomerang. You know, we never interacted before that, but I got a boomerang of it and I tagged her and she added me back so she could add it to her story. And so like I was the only person in the club that had a direct line to her because the booker didn't even have her number because she just dropped in. And so I DM'd her on Instagram. I'm like, hey, I'm a bar back in New York Comedy Club. We found your wallet. And I sent a picture. And like, dude, she got back so fast. She was like, oh my God, thank God you found it. Like, you know, I'll be there later to pick it up. And then she came in later to pick it up. And then she took a picture with me, which was very, very nice for a young struggling comedian, you know, to like meet somebody so fucking cool, so famous, so funny, you know, and like she was super sweet and I just gave the wallet back and, you know, and then she was gone. But it was just like, I don't know. That's one thing I like about stand-up. I feel like a lot of the top dogs that you get to work with, like all of the top dogs that I have worked with have all been incredibly nice, incredibly easy to talk to, and they've all like treated me like an equal, even though I'm clearly not. You know, like I'm just saying the biggest venues I've done are 200 or 300 seaters once in a blue moon, you know, like, but they still talk to me, you know, like I'm in the club, you know, like that's one thing I really like about stand up. The people that make it the furthest are usually because they're pretty easy to work with.
Right.
And
That's actually my next question was going to be like, because kind of what you were just saying, but who is in your eyes, who is the biggest other comedian that you have worked with or opened for or wish you could work with again?
I haven't really worked with that many big names. I did a feature weekend for Maya DiGiorgio. She's very funny. She came up like with Chappelle and Bill Burr and all them. So she's a vet and she's very funny. She's just not as well known as the other guys. But she's been around. She was, you know, like she's in the same scene as Bill Burr and all them when they were coming up. But like I like the only other biggest people, like I remember one time it was so funny because in New York there's a lot of showcase shows where it's like 7 or 8 comedians on a show. And I did one show where me and Ari Shafir were on the same show. And my face was right next to his on the poster. And I put that shit on Facebook. All of my friends in Virginia thought I made it. You know, they thought I was like at the top. And it was like, nah, dude, Ari wasn't even there for my set. He don't know who the fuck I am. You know, like the only comedians that like I've gotten to talk to at length, it was usually because I was a bar back. And I will say, as a comedian, that was like the nice thing about being a bar back was if you're wearing the staff uniform, the most famous comedians in the world are so nice to you because you're working, you're there, you get them beer. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's how they got far in the industry is by not being a dick to small people around them, you know? So if I'm wearing the club shirt, I talked to plenty of comedians I had no business talking to, but like by far the nicest. This should have been my answer to your question. Now I'm remembering this. This is easy answer was Judah Friedlander from 30 Rock. The guy that wears the world champion hats and he's got the long crazy hair and shit. He does stand up. He's hilarious. And the first time I met him at the club, it was just like me and him in the lobby. He was waiting to go on stage and I'm just behind the bar and he's chopping it up with me. Like we've known each other forever, you know? And like, he's asking me about my parents. And I told him that like my mom was retiring this month and yada, yada, yada. We had this nice little conversation. And then I swear to God, I saw him like maybe like 4 or 5 months later. And like, he asked me how my mom was enjoying retirement, you know, like
that's cool.
he was as excited to see me as I was to see him. And, you know, he has no real idea who I am. We just spoke together once. And the thing that really tickled me about that interaction was the second time I saw him was it was because he was late. He was late for his spot. And so me as the comedian bar back, there's no other comedians there. And so they put me on stage to like stretch for time until he got there. And so I saw him in the room during the last 3 minutes of my set, and I was fucking destroying by the last 3 minutes of my set. And it's a very nice thing of like, all right, before he knew I was a bar back, it's like, now he knows I'm good at this shit, you know? Like
Right.
now he
That's
knows.
awesome.
Yeah, now he knows I ain't just the bar back, you know, this is just a means to an end. And then yeah, so and then after he got off stage, you know, he went on after me, and then he got off stage and he was asking me about my mom, and I'm like, this is the nicest man I've ever met on earth, you know, like he was so cool. But like I said, most of the top people that I've gotten a chance to work with or talk to have all been incredibly fucking nice, you know?
Dude, yeah, that's an awesome story, man. That's
Yeah.
like, because that hits home when someone remembers, especially something like that, you know.
Yeah. I think like another good core memory for me when I started stand up, the first headliner I ever opened for was Gina Brion. And this was at the Funny Bone in Virginia Beach. So it was my first weekend of shows ever. I was like probably 20 or 21 years old, and it was 5 shows, and I was hosting them. I do 10 minutes at the top, 5 shows from Thursday to Saturday. I was getting paid $300, and I thought that was the most money I'd ever made in my life. You know, I was stoked, you know. And Gina was the headliner, and the feature was this guy named, I think his name was D. Williams. I don't remember what his real name was, but he went by D. Williams. And so how these shows go is, or at least typically like when you're doing a weekend like that, is like all the comedians like watch each other the first night just to like, you know, see what everyone's about, you know. But then after that, there's 4 other shows. So you kind of just hang out in the green room and you wait for your time to go up, right? And so we all watch each other the first night. And I loved D's material. D was very funny. He was talking about being a teacher. He was fucking hilarious. And then we see Gina set. She's also hilarious. She's still doing stuff in the city and on TV and stuff. She's great. And then for the next 4 shows, it's just me and D in the green room for an hour because Gina's on stage for an hour. And D is like, he's a 50-year-old black dude, right? And I am this 20-year-old white kid. I don't even think I was shaving yet. You know, that's how fucking young I was. And it's like, I just remember like the first night I was just talking his ear off about stand-up because he'd been doing it for, you know, more than 10 years, more than 15 maybe. And so I'm asking him all these questions. And then I remember at some point in the middle, I said something like, hey man, like if this is annoying, like you can let me know, you know, like I know I'm talking shop a lot here. So just let me know if you'd rather talk about anything else. And I just remember like he actually like almost kind of got mad at me for asking because he just looked at me. He goes, man, the young dudes are supposed to ask the old dudes questions because there's no books on this shit. And so like, just like that energy, you know what I mean? Like like that energy, like I try to exude that at this point because I've been at it 10 years now, you know? So I'm like that has always stuck with me for as long as I've done stand-up. The young dude's supposed to ask the old dudes questions because there's no books on this shit. And
yeah, and I do know that dude too, by the way. I've seen his stand-up. He's a great comedian.
Yeah. No, he's awesome. He's great, man. But yeah, no, that was definitely a core memory for me, and it was just something that made me love the craft even more, you know.
Hey, what's up, Jalen? I seen a whole bunch of people coming in, but I'm so interested in everything Steve's been saying. I apologize to the chat. I've seen everyone come in tonight, and you guys all rock.
Everybody's talking about voltage.
Yeah. Oh, Van the man with the beautiful beard.
Of course,
He's the man
Rome's
that gives
got the
all
tongue
of us
out.
energy.
Talking about the 9-volt on the tongue.
Oh, the 9-volt on the tongue. That's the
We've all
best way to
done
go.
that. Yeah, we've all done that.
That's the most electrician work I've done is putting the 9-volt on the tongue. That's it. That's where
Yeah.
my experience ends.
Yep, the battery's good. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Cola.
Hey, Cola. Aloha, Cola. So, well, everyone that's just getting here, you're gonna have to go back and watch the replay.
You're late as
Because,
hell.
and everyone that's just getting here, Stephen Bolles' YouTube page is linked at the top. So you definitely got to go check it out and check out his special.
Yeah.
And check out the replay because yeah, this was great. But we are a little over the 2-hour mark, which we usually do about 2 hours. And I know which is awesome. Stephen traveled from New York all the way to Virginia.
Yeah. No, I'm in
To,
Virginia right now, taking care of my mom post knee surgery.
Right.
Taking my mom to the doctor in the morning.
Yeah,
I feel your
man.
pain, brother.
Yeah, you feel it. We're earning our spot in that will, baby.
Yeah, I love my mama though. She's worth it.
Nah, me too. Me too, yo. Me too. I'm joking. My mom's
I know
cool.
you are.
Yeah.
And Steven still took the time out of his day to hang out with us. And I appreciate you for that, brother.
Of course. I appreciate you having me here, man. This was fun.
We appreciate
No,
it.
dude, it was a lot of fun. It was great, man. And
You're making me want a cigarette is what you're doing right now because I got this.
I'm sorry, man. I know the funny thing is I smoke more when I'm live than I do normally because I don't even really I go back and watch. I'm like, dude, how many cigarettes did I smoke? Like, Jesus.
Dude, the only reason I'm not is because I'm in my mom's house and she yelling.
Right.
Who was that one guy like Donahue or whatever that used to smoke chain smoke when he did talk show?
Who was that?
Oh.
I kind of remember, but I don't.
Wait. Fuck. Isn't it Bill something? Bill, are you talking about a comedian that would smoke on stage a lot,
No,
right?
this guy did like talk shows like Donahue or
okay.
You might not know who Donahue is, but like Jerry Springer, but he just smoked the whole time, just chain smoked.
Oh, there was a talk show host that did that?
Yeah.
Shit. I don't know who that
It wasn't Larry
Morton Downey?
King.
Morton
Yeah,
Downey?
yeah, Morton Downey.
Hey, Rome got it. Rome 13 got it. Right on. Rome.
Ding, ding, ding.
Also, I was thinking about Bill Hicks.
Yeah, Bill Hicks or what's his name? Hey, what's in the bowl, bitch?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Dice Clay. There we go.
Yeah, Dice Clay. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know the Canadian comedy troops, but I know the smoking comedians.
Right.
Yeah.
Morton Downey Jr. to be exact, right?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, that just shows age right there. That's old school.
Yeah. But sweet. So anyone got any final thoughts? Beautiful final thoughts to end the night? Or what do they call that? Selfish or shameless plugs.
Oh, yeah, I got a shameless plugs. You have actually been an incredible host in the sense you've been doing all my shameless plugs for me, which has been very nice, which is just go to YouTube and watch the special and comment on it and send it to your friends. And I appreciate that a lot. And if you want to follow me on any social media, it's Mick Longhair, MC Longhair. Easy to remember. Just it's going to be everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that shit. YouTube, it's everywhere. Mick Longhair, MC Longhair, if you want to follow me. If you're in New York City, I perform every week, sometimes every night of the week. So hit me up and follow me there. And I think, like I said, the only show plug I have is the special right now. So thank you for plugging that as much as you have during our time here.
Awesome. And if he was in chat earlier, I don't know if he's still here, but if you ever run into someone named Ed Hen, he is also in New York City.
Okay.
And he is from here. So
okay, hell yeah.
He's also trying to get into stand-up comedy. So
all right, well, I'll be looking for Ed in the city at the mics and seeing hopefully we run into each other.
Right on. So what about you, Dave? Any final thoughts? Or you want to plug anything?
Eat lots of ice cream. Be happy. Don't stress, man. Do what makes you happy and take care of the people you love.
Right
That's
on.
all I got.
Hell yeah.
Right on. And then I'm gonna close out, but Stephen, if you want to hang for a second backstage, I'm just gonna close out with the outro, and my final thoughts are, as they always are, have a beautiful morning, a beautiful day, beautiful afternoon, a beautiful evening, a beautiful night, whatever it may be, wherever you are. And most importantly, God bless. Oh my God.
I'm done. Oh, I'm sorry. I just died. I can't breathe. Steve, I swear to you, I haven't laughed that hard in like 10 years.
How's everybody doing?
It's gonna be real. Your nationality is American. You were born in America. You're an American.
That's fact. I guess right after high school, ended up joining the Army.
You guys seem way more chill than that intro. I'm ready to take your fucking country back. I don't even live there.
Dude, we should get a boxing match going.
Smack the shit out of
That sounded wrong.
Only because I feel like you need to be exposed more.
I have to highlight that one. Oh my Lord.
And stay the hell out of the left lane if you're not passing.
You're so salty about this driving.
You don't have to have a massive channel to make an impact, you know.
I've learned a very important lesson. Just always keep your gerbil on a leash.
Fuck, do I drop the wheelchair jokes? He's like, just fuck them.
You know, that's what the whole freedom of speech is.
That's a good point.
Then this old lady walks in with like a walker, and I look at him and he goes, oh yeah, you're fucked.
You don't have to agree with it. Absolutely not. But you best defend their right to do it.
Again.
People like Pelosi are not going to get in the way because they all became multi-millionaires.
Did you ever get around to stomping on your Air Force Ones?
I don't like certain individuals. It's never because of their race, identity, religion, or
Teach these government nerds that all swear an oath to it what our freedoms are because they're so lazy they don't care.
They're all in on it. There was really nobody to like support us and defend us against these evil people inside.
I had a fun night. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
To have a place for everyone to go to where they can just forget about life for a little bit and have fun.
You know, don't live on the past or take the present for granted and only think about the future.
People are wearing blinders. They don't understand what.
Never attack or insult the other side of the debate.
I'm not going to apologize for that.
What you were calling him an idiot on was something that you just didn't agree on.
I'm really disappointed in you. I had all my money on you tonight.
I'm guilty of inciting my constitutional right.
You know, if they don't like it, then they don't have to be there. You know, take it easy. I love y'all. See y'all on the next one.
You know, you're never gonna please everyone. Not everyone's ever gonna like you.
I don't think that God sees different races at all.
Much love to y'all. Stay prayed up, man. God is good. Love each other and be kind.
Much love, much aloha, and most importantly, God bless.